No, you can hear. I can hear it too, Ron. I can hear that too. Is that me?
No, it's Ron. Yeah, Ron, your mic is cooked. We can't hear you.
There you go.
That's better?
Yeah,
There
you
we
hot.
go, okay.
There we go.
All right.
There we go.
What's going on, y'all? How you feeling today?
Yeah.
I'm wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get straight into it. The Boston Celtics have went up 2-0 on the Dallas Mavericks, and it's kind of in a bit of an overwhelming fashion, even though it might not seem like it, but it is, but it's not. And so we got to talk about this and what's been going on over these past two games. I do want to let everybody know that we will be going over the playback for the last hour of the show. So y'all stay tuned for that. We're going to talk about a lot of things during this episode, and then we're going to go to playback to watch those things and really break them down, dissect them, and analyze them. And that's at 10 Pacific, 1 Eastern. But talk to me, fellas. What did you see in game 2?
Ron, I'm gonna get right to the point. Great players separate themselves from the pack when we get deep into the playoffs. We already know who they are when the playoffs start, right? We already know who they are when the playoffs start. But as we go deeper into the playoffs, they start to separate themselves more. Who we know, all right, this is our guy, and they start playing like that. And I don't feel like Jason Tatum has separated himself from the crew. I don't feel like he's separated himself. I feel like he's trying to play basketball instead of just playing basketball. I feel like he's in his head. I feel like there's things that he's doing that he wouldn't normally do if he just played. So, for example, he's outside. He's got Luka matched up against him, and he can get by Luka whenever he wants. But I feel like when he gets by Luka, even when the defense collapses on him, where it's two guys, and okay, sure, he's kicking it out. But he knows that when he gets by Luka, Luka is not really looking to stay in front of him. Luka is looking to poke the ball away from him from behind. He's done that the majority of the time, not just this series, but in the playoffs. He's looked to do that. So instead of putting him in jail like other guys do, where you get a guy on your hip and now he's at the mercy of you, he's not doing that. It looks to me like he's rushing a lot of things. It looks like he's thinking the game too much instead of just playing. Don't get me wrong. I can appreciate the other aspects of the game where he's passing the basketball and he's getting other guys involved. I think that's fantastic. But at some point, you got to assert your dominance as a scorer. And we're talking about I think Jason Tatum, if I'm not mistaken, this season, I think he was in the top 10 in the league in scoring. If at some point you have to assert your dominance, not just as a scorer, but as a player. Jrue Holiday has been their most consistent player in these finals, more than anybody. He's been their most consistent player. With him being their most consistent player, I feel like he's been not necessarily playing the best, but that's been the thing that's really propelled them, as opposed to Jason Tatum, who is my guy, by the way. I'm a Jason Tatum guy, but I feel like he's thinking too much the game instead of just playing the game.
Mars, Swiper.
Well, first off, I'd like to apologize. I'm having some technical issues over here, so I missed your opening dissertation. I hope everything went well for you on Friday. Because I definitely was looking for you to ask some questions, Brother Chill. First off, good evening or good afternoon, Mars. Good morning, Ron.
What's good, Swiper?
Can you give me a 10-second, 2-minute, what you did in the first 2 minutes? Were you basically saying Jason Tatum is underperforming based on your expectations? Is that your synopsis?
I feel like a lot of the stuff that he's doing, just from a scoring aspect, I can appreciate him getting involved in the game, but I feel like the scoring aspect of it, I feel like he's thinking too much, and because he's thinking too much, I think that's taking him out of the game a lot of times. Instead of him just passing the bat, instead of him just being that guy, he's trying to be that guy. He's trying to get by Luka.
I think what I would say in response to that is Tatum his shot profile has not been any drastically different than it was in the regular season. His 3-point shooting, like off the dribble, like the typical stuff that he would have hit, has been horrible for a whole playoff run. Yesterday, he was missing I legit think he missed 3 or 4 layups yesterday, because he was out of control a little bit headed to the rim and tried to make some difficult buckets. Look what I'll say about Tatum, because I want to start here. I think Tatum, his passing was exceptional yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
That was his best passing game of the playoffs so far this year. I think that every time Tatum drove, every single time Tatum drove, something good happened. If he held onto the ball, at least. Now, there's a couple times that he fumbled the ball. But when he held onto the ball, he drove to the basket. He either got a foul at the rim or an attempt at a layup, or he got a nice pass out and a skip pass to somebody else. And he was doing really well in that connected passer role yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, Chill. I'm going to keep it a band with you. First half, I did not like his defense.
I was cussing him out. I was at halftime, and Ron saw me on playback. I was cussing him out. I didn't appreciate that game at all at halftime.
Right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But they were people got misconstrued, like, because I've seen other teams target Tatum when it comes to switching on. But the reason that teams target Tatum, because his best skill is him being able to be a weak side help off ball defender because of his length and his athleticism. And in this instance, Tatum bringing him up at the level, they were just saying, okay, we're going to make sure we're getting you in position to be able to take you away from the rim. But the problem that I did not like for the first 6 quarters of this game, Shield, when Luka would get switched on to Tatum, Tatum would let him walk by him multiple times. And I couldn't, for the life of me, couldn't understand. The whole game plan that you have employed is keeping him in front and making him shoot jumpers as often as possible. And Tatum would just open the door for him, expecting help. But then Luka would get by him, draw a foul at the rim, or get a lay, and it wasn't making sense. First half, Tatum, I don't care what nobody says. I'm tired of, the thing is, Chill, and I even told one of my homies this last night, Chill, I really believe this. I think if you are in the Eastern Conference and you have liabilities in your game, you have holes in your game, I think you get talked about differently than players in the West. Because I think when you look at like Steph, Yoke, Braun, like all the rest of these players in the last several years, if you have bad shooting games, multiple games in a row, Chill, and bad scoring games, you don't get it dismissed like, oh, well, look at all this other stuff that they're doing at this level when they're 26 years old. Because what I'm seeing from Tatum is he started off this series, I think he was, did he start 0-6 yesterday? So that's that 6 and 22?
1 for 7.
1 for 7?
I know he was 1 for 8 at one point.
What's he in the first 2 games right now? Is it 12 of 38 or 40?
Hold on, let me see. I know he went 6 for 22 last night. I know that.
So then that's 8. So plus 16. So 38. So he's 12 of 38 to start off the NBA Finals.
That's less than 36. That's less than 30%.
If anybody did that we considered, Chill, a true superstar, like a toppity top player, we would the whole conversation would be different. But for me, though, I think this speaks to we don't believe that he's one of those players like the upper echelon, peak of the peak players, which is fine. But I also think you can also acknowledge the playmaking was spectacular. The defense and the rebounding in the second half, Chill, was spectacular.
Yes,
but the thing was
in the second half, sure.
Like that third quarter turnaround, I'm like, okay, Tatum doing this and that. But then all of Boston, Tatum, when he shot that fadeaway, Chill, I heard the city of Boston groaning.
It was a gas, sure. I can get with that, sure.
For no reason. Yeah, so it's just stuff like that. But him, JB, Drew, and Derek, what did I tell folk? They have 4 players that can beat you off the dribble, Chill. Every one of them can, and they do it consistently. Literally, it ain't just Luka. DJ's getting walked by. PJ Washington's getting walked by. Kyrie's getting walked by. They don't have anybody that can stay in front of any 4 of those dudes.
I think their offense has definitely been their best defense, to be quite honest with you, because so many of those guys can do so many different things. And with Drew Holiday being able to knock down open shots, that makes him even more lethal. Plus the fact that Jason Tatum is finding him in the dunker spot and finding him around the rim. And I was really critical of Drew Holiday years ago when he was playing with Milwaukee where he couldn't finish layups. He's actually doing a really good job at that in this series in particular. And I can't leave out what Derek White has done. I can't leave out what Derek White has done just from a defensive standpoint. I can't leave out what he's done. This Dallas looked overmatched yesterday more than anything. They looked overmatched.
They couldn't make a three. What were they? They start off the game 0 of. Mark, you remember the exact number? 0 of 8.
You talking about the Celtics?
Yeah,
No,
from
the
3.
Mavs.
No.
You talking about the Celtics?
Yeah, he's talking about the Celtics. Yeah,
in the first 3 quarters, how many threes did they make?
7.
In the first 3 quarters?
6.
So, but the thing is, they weren't hitting anything, and the Mavs couldn't do nothing about it. That for me is when you get scary. When as a basketball team, you aren't hitting your threes at all, and you still in the game, or you up slightly, then yeah, man, it's cooked. JB, go ahead.
To Jason Tatum's credit, when he has bad shooting nights, they're undefeated in the playoffs. To his credit. I just want to put that out.
That's not to his credit. That's to Jalen. That's to everybody. But I wanted to ask a couple things. First, I kind of wanted to dive in a little further to what you were saying about Jrue Holiday. Chill. Saying that he couldn't make layups in there. And I know you're over exaggerating a little bit, but that's just the impact of Jrue Holiday. Like, this is what we were talking about during the summertime when I'm like, well, the Boston Celtics clearly won this trade. I mean, he clears Damian Lillard as a basketball player. As a shot chucker, Dame got it. But as a hooper, Jrue Holiday clears. And that's, you know what I'm saying?
Just as a ball player, you taking Jrue
Holiday.
Yeah,
because Jrue Holiday shoots not Jrue Holiday. I'm sorry. Well, sometimes Damian Jrue does Lillard too. Sometimes Jrue does too, but when any of them are shooting tour dates, Drew's still balling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, and that's why I said before this series started, when somebody was bringing up the way Joe Mazzulla coaches and he just wants to shoot, and I'm telling y'all, well, they can still win like that because the defense is just like that. They got everybody on the court can play defense on the perimeter. It's the team. It's just simple as Boston's just a better team. You know what I mean?
It really is that simple.
And we haven't talked about Kyrie at all yet because I can't wait because them conversations that were happening a week ago were insane.
real quick, Spot, can we? I kind of also want to talk to you directly about your Jason Tatum analysis. Is this what they mean by the NBA is a make or miss league? Like where if Jrue Holiday, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Jrue. My bad, y'all. But if Jason makes 5 more shots, a couple more threes, is this game as bad? Is it all about the shooting splits with Jason? Because I mean, he missed shots, no doubt. Jason is known for taking some bad shots, some tough shots, but that's what players do. It looks tough to us. Maybe it's not a tough shot to him. So I want to know, did he play bad because he missed shots?
No, I don't think he played bad. I really don't. I don't think he played bad.
I agree. I think he actually played an all right game.
Yeah, I think he played a good game. I think in the second half, he was much better than he was in the first. But I think the thing with Tatum is that I think with the shooting, it's not even that you missing shots. Sometimes he goes brain dead with some of the way he makes decisions offensively, and that's what frustrates me more than anything else. It's just like when he uses his physicality, like and he gets to the rim and athleticism, then he's a man like. He's doing everything he needs to do at that point. Because now you might not make a shot, but like you're putting so much pressure on the defense, they have to change up what they're doing so consistently. And again, bro, like it's a part of the strategy. They're bringing up Luka into every action for a reason. Like they want to wear him out. So Tatum, be a part of that. Go wear him out. Get to the rim. Get to the basket. And the thing, Chill, every single time Luka gets beat, he doesn't make the secondary rotation. Every time.
You mean he's out to play as soon as he gets beat?
He's done. He's done.
But when I say that, that's what I mean when I say that on that level of championship level defense in terms of effort. I've always had this problem with Luka. Mars, I believe, used the word when I said Luka was the worst defender in the league, and he asked me, is he worse than Trey? I believe the word Mars used was ay, ay, ay. I think that's the word he used. So the reason why I feel like that is because when a guy gives you no effort after they get beat, that's the most important. That's why I'm such a big fan of Jrue Holiday, because Jrue Holiday will stay engaged. When he gets beat, he won't die on the play. He will get back into play. But as far as Jason Tatum,
different responsibilities too. To be fair, with
sure,
Jrue
100%.
Yeah.
But as far as Jason Tatum being able to go after Luka, that puts so much when he's making open shots, like a 2-dribble pull up. Or a floater in the mid-range or in the mid-post. When he's doing stuff like that, that puts so much more pressure on the Dallas Mavericks defense. And that even affects their offense when he's doing that. Now, again, I understand. I think they undefeated when he shoots under 40% in the playoffs. But at some point, as a damn good scorer in this league, as a great scorer in this league, as an elite scorer in this league, you have to assert your dominance. They should have won that game going away yesterday. I can't say this enough. I was cussing him out at halftime. I was.
Yo, Mars.
And that's my guy, by the way.
Can we get your expert analysis on this game too? What did you see? What did you like? What did you not like?
I was watching this game angry that OKC could have beaten Dallas, and I'm gonna stand on that. I don't care. They could have beaten. They're doing the same thing that Boston's doing. It just turns out PJ Washington and Derek Jones want to miss now.
Exact same thing.
The exact same game plan. The difference is, I'll give Boston that credit. They're not giving up the corner threes. It's the above the break threes, and that's making a big difference in why I think
You see that air ball by DJJ?
Oh, egregious.
I thought I closed the window. I thought somebody moved the rim. I for real did.
So I will say,
I'm still throwed off last series. Every time he put up a three, I think it's going in. Even though I know who this guy is. Hey, I knew Derek Jones Jr. in high school. I knew him in UNLV. It's recency bias. You see a dude start knocking. He been knocking it down all playoffs. So I'm like, psychologically, he been in the gym.
He been knocking it down against OKC. So first of all, I don't care that OKC lost in 6. They could have won. The reason they lost is because PJ Washington and Derek Jones decided to make the threes that they've been conceded all playoffs. So once again, losing a series doesn't mean you had no chance to win. I'm gonna stand on that. But once again, credit to Boston for what they are doing. It's clear they're shrinking the court in isolation, not giving up corner threes, but also not giving up the lob, two of Dallas's most potent forms of offense. Jason Kidd made the adjustment in game 2 to have Luka off the ball and use the non-shooters as ball handlers, a la Aaron Gordon for Denver. The reason it doesn't work as much is because those guys can't drive to the rim.
Nope.
So you end up just having to give the ball back to Luka anyway. But I did like what I was seeing with Luka off the ball. I think it got Luka the ball in spots where he was more comfortable, easier. I think that's great. Probably want to see more of that. Boston offensively, I mean, you guys alluded to it, but I think it should be really hammered home that they are just blowing by Luka every play. And that's the game plan. It's not a knock on Luka. Like, I'm not saying it to diss Luka. The game plan is get Luka, whoever's on him, whoever has Luka on them, drive.
Don't let him off the right track.
And then every time the defense is scrambling now, and they're not making the extra rotations consistently. Boston shot poorly from 3, so like it doesn't get noticed as much. But it's a clear emphasis. We're blowing by Luka. We know you're gonna collapse. We're gonna kick out. If you make the first rotation, we're gonna swing. And then then you're either not gonna make the second rotation, or we're driving that closeout too. So every single, and I said it in the Telegram group chat, Luka was simultaneously having one of the best offensive games I've ever seen, and one of the worst defensive games I've ever seen in the same game. I've never seen something so up and down on both sides of it. I've never seen it. It was very interesting. So
I thought they did a good job on him in the second half too, Mars. Which one, Luke? Yeah, I thought they did a good job on him in the second half. Now, I think he had 5 turnovers in the second half. 2 of those 5 turnovers
were his fault.
Yeah.
The one was not his fault.
He had to get the ball,
dribbling the ball up the field.
Yeah, he had to get the ball. He had to get the ball over half court, and that wasn't his fault. And the one where he basically got caught in the air, I think that was his fault. But for the most part, I thought that they did a good job in forcing him into tough shots. Not only forcing him into tough shots, because you're gonna get a scorer make tough shots. I don't think that's the issue. I think getting him off the spots that he's used to getting to more than anything, and getting the ball out of his hands when he doesn't have the ball. When he doesn't have the ball, keeping the ball out of his hands. I thought they did a damn good job at that. But the thing that I want to talk to you guys about the most, I want to talk to you guys about how Drew Holiday is slowing down Kyrie Irving. The exact same, Mars just brought it up because I was going to bring it up. The exact same game plan that Oklahoma City had against Dallas. Joe Mazzulla saw that. That's the downside, Ron, about having a great game plan. Somebody's going to see this and they're going to use it against you. That's the downside. So Joe Mazzulla saw what they did against Kyrie Irving, closing out hard on him, not just closing out hard on him, forcing him right, making him come back to his strong hand, which is what Drew Holiday was doing. Also, being physical with him. Ball handlers don't like guys being physical with them. Get your hands off me as a ball handler. Ball handlers don't want that. And a bigger guy in Jaylen Brown knocking him off balance, but not off balance to the point where it was a foul. I thought they did a great job on him. And that affected Kyrie Irving's shot. It affected his lift. I think they've been doing a great job on him.
Look, but what I can't believe, and this is the thing about mythology with Kyrie. I cannot believe people were going into this series saying, yeah, he was just going to wax like JB is. Matter of fact, some people were saying that Kyrie was going to be the second best player in the series, or just period, like definitively. And that definitively,
where do you think that comes from, Swiper?
It's all hoop. It's just
that's it.
Hoop. It's hoop. It's hoop ball. It's just head between hoop. Like people said he was going to be demonstrably the third best. Like JB just smoke. So you telling me a dude that can't play defense, not a good off-ball player, not a good on-ball player, his entire game is predicated on shot making, which is cool.
Kyrie
Which is cool.
That was kind of crazy, Swiper.
Yeah,
Which part?
Man just said Kyrie's not good off the ball or on the ball. So Kyrie's a bad player? Like, what?
No, I'm talking about. I said defense. I said defense.
He said not a good defender, not a good on-ball player. Not a good
I mean on-ball defender.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking. I was feeling like he's a great. Yeah.
Not true.
But I'm saying like but in this series, the whole point is if he cannot shot make, he doesn't have a lot of intrinsic value just because they're not that. It's not that they're not concerned with them. They're obviously concerned with them. But, like, okay, break us down one-on-one. That's the whole point. Luka, we know Luka can do it. But Luka's not going to beat us 4 times doing that. And Kyrie is just out here floating. Like, literally, Luka is looking for help. Any chance he can get it.
Swipe, are you telling us that Kyrie Irving is one of those guys who, if he's not scoring the basketball, is kind of useless?
Not useless. It's not that he's not used. I think this series is just highlighting that when people say most skilled, all they're actually talking about is dribbling
scoring
and shooting.
That's it.
Because if you're talking
not all the time, Swiper, not all the time. I think you're right. I think you're right about that with certain instances, of course, but not all the time. Like Kyrie, and with the Kyrie thing, what y'all saying is he can do that. He is that guy, just not against Drew Holiday, Derrick Jones, and Jaylen Brown.
But would you say, to this point now, we watched it. Do you think JB, should this then be a better appropriation of, like, when we're talking about skill, we can see JB's maybe is a more skilled all-around basketball player than Kyrie, but it's just not the same package.
Only reason you can possibly even talk about his skill set on the defensive end, moving his feet, beating.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It's everything.
Talk about everything, and that's why it's a conversation. But Kyrie is showing he can play defense as well. I don't think Jaylen Brown's skill set is as high as Kyrie's because Kyrie has the ability. I think that having the ability to do multiple things as a basketball player, like the skill to do it, Kyrie has everything in his bag as far as offensive end. And on top of that, it's not like it's just hezzy tween. Kyrie is
no. Hold on, but I think this is what I'm saying. Just to finish the point out. So when you look at JB's help side defense has been impeccable. His on-ball defense has been impeccable, including against Kyrie. He's been a good spot-up shooter. He can get off the dribble, off the bounce, and get to you. I mean, he has enough awareness to know like the next pass he needs to make. He's not better than Tatum as a passer, but he's good. Boom, 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 pass, or drop off, whatever he needs to do. And then even finishing at the rim. Like, just all the way around. Like, I think when people were talking about this series, I think a lot of this is like, if you want to say more skills means like this kind of stuff and like the shooting and everything, then I'm good with it. But like JB has been all around doing everything.
What are the other things though, Swiper? Like, what are the other things except for
JB?
It sounds like on the defensive side of the basketball.
Well, even rebounding. Even rebounding.
Defense, yeah.
Well, rebounding is also a skill. So like JB. Go ahead, Joe.
I don't think that JB is the distributor that Kyrie Irving is. I think Kyrie Irving
he's not the playmaker.
And not just the playmaker, just getting to the rim, being able to break down defenses. Now, when we get on the defensive side of the basketball, Kyrie Irving definitely, when he gives effort, he's definitely a better player when he gives effort. But the problem is guys like Kyrie Irving, his game is predicated, a lot of it, on putting the ball in the rim. A lot of his game is predicated on that. And when he doesn't do that, it looks like a lot of the other stuff that he does goes away because he becomes real average at that other stuff. I think that's the problem. I think that's where I'm at when it comes to Kyrie Irving, because he's one of those guys where when he's getting busy, we're talking about Kyrie Irving as the best this or the most skilled that. But when he's not doing that, which is what Jrue Holiday is preventing him from doing, when he's not doing that, then the other stuff just looks real average.
JB's defense, even go ahead.
You guys do know, and I say this every series, and for the most part, it's happened. You guys do know Kyrie's coming. We are about to see. We're about to see.
Boston,
I don't care about that.
This ain't the other teams, Ron. This is
Yeah,
Boston.
No, what? This is Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
What does
but
that mean?
I feel you. Kyrie, there are going to be games, Ron.
That's it right there. What
does that mean, though? He gonna make it. I'm
Has
good.
he tween? Has he
Sure,
tween?
that's fine. That ain't gonna beat Boston, though.
We didn't see Kyrie Hezzy tween cats into a casket.
That's not gonna beat Boston. Is the point?
I'm not saying it's gonna be Boston. That's
because
not.
what's gonna happen the other way? What's gonna happen the other
I
end?
get your point. I get your point. You're gonna say he can do that and they'll still lose. Okay, I get that. I'm not finna go as far as saying in Boston. I've been meaning to hype Boston's defense, and I'll do that in the next segment or whatever. That doesn't mean that they're not great defensively. It just means that Kyrie's still Kyrie. Nobody up here would be shocked if, let's say, the series goes 6 games.
No,
and over the next 4 games, Kyrie averages 27. And
you think it's 4-1 now at this point?
Let's say over the next 3 games, Kyrie averages 28. Nobody out here will be shocked because it's Kyrie Irving.
I'm cool with that.
I'm saying we going back to Dallas.
That's cool. I still don't think he's the third best player in the series.
All right. Hey, and they played good defense. Derek White had that block on him. It was a possession where JT got a steal on him and whatnot. But for the most part, Kyrie's been getting the looks that he wants. He's just not making them.
No, he ain't. Everything he's been shooting is contested for the most part. What are you talking about?
That's the problem, Ron.
But Kyrie's always, Kyrie's a tough shot maker. That's the life of a tough shot maker. You're gonna have stretches where they don't go in.
Well, he said, that's
why I've always said, like, being a tough shot maker is a blessing and a curse, because when it goes in, all of a sudden you're the best player ever. And when it's missing, it looks kind of like it does with Kyrie right now, which is why I think the ability to generate good looks consistently is more valuable than tough shot making. But when it comes to the skilled aspects of it, Kyrie
there, Mars. Go back to what you just said. Please elaborate on that, because I don't think people understand the difference between being able to generate good looks and making tough shots. Please go back.
Yeah, I think
stay on that, please.
I think tough shot making is very noticeable, on the eye, and everyone can recognize, oh my god, that's a ridiculous shot. But the issue with tough shot making, especially when it's 95% of your shot diet, is they are tough shots, and just undoubtedly you're gonna miss them quite often. Whereas a guy for example, Giannis, who isn't as skilled as Kyrie offensively, but if you're able to consistently get a paint touch and you're able to consistently get to the front of the rim, that's inherently more valuable than consistent tough shot making, in my opinion. Unless you're a tough shot maker to the degree of a Steph Curry, KD, Kobe, those types. Unless you're a tough shot maker to that degree,
Mars,
generally
Kyrie's in that category.
And if you think Kyrie is in that category, I'm not gonna argue because I can't be bothered. But I think the difference between those guys is, even especially KD in his prime, Kobe in his prime, Steph. But Steph is kind of different, but he's an outstanding circumstance. I can talk about that in a minute if you want to. They're still able to generate the easy looks easier than Kyrie is. Some of it's because he's 6'2". Some of it's because he's not a great driver. I understand how good of a finisher he is. I'm not arguing against his finishing. But they actually getting to the rim consistently, he doesn't do that. And that's why I think there's a clear difference between Kyrie and Shea as offensive players. Because Shea is a tough shot maker, but Shea is also one of the best drivers in the league, and he's able to get to the rim at will.
You think Kyrie's a better offensive player than Shea, Ron?
No. Oh,
Ron.
Than Shea?
Better offensive player. Not scorer, Ron. Better offensive player.
I can't say that. Shea's 30 a night. He does it against any defense, and Shea got he got playmaking abilities too. I'm more high on Shea's
better than Irv. Better than Irv.
Yeah.
Kyrie's probably
so who's the worst? Who's the best player? Kyrie Irving, would you say, has a better offensive game than let's say offensive player? I think if you go Devin Booker, for instance, do you think Kyrie is on that level?
I'm high on D-Book too. Nah.
D-Book has similar issues to Kyrie. like in terms of shot profile and tough shot making.
That's
Jalen
because he's
Brunson.
slow. That's
What about
that's
Jalen
Devin
Brunson?
Booker is
A
not.
lot of it is quickness. With Kyrie, it's also
Yeah.
length. Like he's athletic. He's not athletically advantaged, which is why I don't get why we're having skill discussions about him. The issue with him isn't his lack of skill; it's the lack of athleticism. A, as a 32-year-old, B, at his size, and C, with the personnel he's going up against. He's not lacking in the skill department. The skill is really what's keeping him, if you want to say, above water right now, which is even questionable. He's probably below water, but the skill is what's even making his head pop out the water. Like that's what's really happening right now, because he's so skilled. He still has counters he can get to, but he's having to go to a second and third counter every single play because he can't just drive by someone. And he's a skilled driver. Like he knows the angles to take. He can get low. The pickups are all advanced. But at the end of the day, you still have to get a step. You have to get by someone. He can't do that consistently, and that's the issue.
I think Kyrie just excites us because he's just so explosive. You know, he'll have a game where he just goes on crazy runs, and you know he's just feeling it where he can get to certain spots and pull up and hit the jumper, get to the rim, right hand, left hand. He can make tough shots. He just excites us with his burst of explosive scoring, and he does that. And then we get over. I know I do. I get overexcited. I start seeing a 6'1" Kobe Bryant. I get, I just lose my mind. And then for the next, and then the next 2-3 games, I'm just expecting Kyrie to go crazy. And when he doesn't, it's like, damn, it's really high with me or just really underwhelming.
Because he hasn't made a three in this series.
No,
well, I'm unaware of that.
He's made one free throw and no threes this series.
But he doesn't get to the.
No, I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's
and why is that?
Easy
because he's
score.
not a great driver, and he plays away. He plays away from contact because of his finesse game. He plays away from the contact and tries to finish. And then when it goes in, it's oh my god. But that's what I'm talking about. There's a difference between function and aesthetic. Eye test, like everyone for me, like when I say I'm an eye test person, it's not aesthetics. It's watching the game and seeing functionality and seeing nuances that the stat sheet won't show you. That's eye test to me. Now I understand eye test has been understood as heady tween. This guy's got a deeper bag. All of this. That's like to me. That's not what eye test is. So when I say eye test, I'm not talking about Kyrie's bag of all of these things. I'm talking about functionality. The reason Kyrie isn't as consistently of a high level like a guy like a Steph Curry, who the comparisons we're having a week ago, whatever, on Twitter or whatever.
Bro, he's averaging 14 points on a 37 true shooting with no made threes.
Yes,
that's horrible. I mean, that is horrible.
But it's also he's not going to be like. There's going to be a game where the tough shots are going in the conversation.
That's what I was about to. I want to get to that, Mars, because I don't want to get off of that what you just got finished talking about. Because when I think about a tough shot maker as opposed to a guy getting good looks, right, or making the game easier for themselves, wouldn't my tough shots demoralize the defense and collapse the defense and enable me to now get better looks? So, for example, a guy like Kyrie Irving, with getting to the basket or with getting to the mid-range and being able to knock down shots with a hand in his face. Well, now you got to switch up your defense. And in the process of you switching up your defense, I can manipulate your defense to now get more open shots, as opposed to it just being one-on-one where you consistently got a hand in my face and I'm knocking down tough shots, which is demoralizing your defense.
It depends on how defenses react. And like it's like the same issue with the Mavs role players. This is why I say 3-point percentage is deceiving. If someone's shooting 39% from three, but teams still aren't going to actually guard them, what value are you getting from that 39% 3-point shooter? Especially if they're not a willing 3-point shooter. Like Derrick Jones can shoot 42% on 3 attempts, but if teams still don't guard him and he's still only taking 3, that's 25 possessions a game where he's not providing you much value because he won't shoot the ball. So like, say it's similar with Kyrie. It's not just Kyrie, but in general. If you're a tough shot maker and you're making them, and defenses still aren't overexerting or over rotating or over helping, you're not really the value you're adding is because of the shot making, but you're not putting the defense in extra rotation. You're not commanding double teams. You're not getting other guys open with that. If they're still leaving you one-on-one or they're still not sending hard doubles and they're only shrinking the floor a little bit. So like the value you provide is about how you can make the defense rotate or react to you. And then what you can do off of that, which is why I think Steph is such a dangerous offensive player, because not just of how well he shoots, it's the reaction defenses have to the threat of him shooting.
Sure.
And that's why when Steph was having his slump, what was it, 2022 season, I remember I asked the question whether it was on the regular Players Trade show or on the panel. what is the worst 3-point percentage Steph could have where teams would still guard him like he's Steph Curry?
28.
Like if Steph is a 32% 3-point shooter with his shot diet, a team's still gonna double him off a DHO. A team's still gonna blitz him in a high pick and roll. And if that's the case, he's still providing value at an extremely high level.
You could argue Steph could make 0% from 3 and nothing would change.
Because he's just the fact that he's on the floor.
Swiper for real.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at.
There's
There's a level of inherent value you get just because of the threat you pose to defenses.
Sure.
Which is why when it comes to like these Derek Jones, Matisse Thybulle, Bilal Coulibaly shooters, they're still not providing spacing because teams aren't guarding them. Like you can shoot 40% from 3. If teams are conceding wide open threes to you and you're still a reluctant shooter, even when you are wide open, you going 2 for 5 isn't providing much value on the court offensively, despite the fact the percentage says 40%. And that's the issue I think you kind of run in with Kyrie is even when the shots are going in, if defenses aren't sending extra utility towards him or aren't doing those things, there's still a ceiling on the value that you're getting.
But the defense is
pretty
though,
much
Mars.
entirely dependent on the shot making.
But the defense is though, Mars, and the reason why the defense is because we have our best defender on you, and you're occupied by our best defender all night. I mean, sure, Boston is a very
who's their best defender?
I think it's Kyrie. I think it's Drew.
But I'm saying they got a couple arguments.
Yeah, but they can afford to do that.
Yeah, chill. It doesn't really apply for Boston.
Boston's an outstanding circumstance in my
Sure, it does because they're really switch heavy on the perimeter. However, my primary matchup is going to be Drew Holiday and Kyrie Irving. Whether we're in transition, I got to find him. Jason Tatum's not going to find him. Sure, Jaylen Brown might get switched onto him. But to my point, if you're occupied primarily by my best defender, that's going to weigh heavy on what your offense looks like. Because now, to your point, Swiper, when you're talking about hezzy tweens and bags, when you're occupied by my best defender, who is one of the smartest defenders, one of the most physical defenders, you now have to dig deeper into your bag. And you have to go deeper into your bag to get what you're trying to get against a guy like Drew Holiday. And it becomes much more difficult. Then you add into guys like Jason Tatum switching on to you, who's a bigger, more athletic guy. Then you get Jaylen Brown, who's also a bigger, more athletic guy. So when you do that kind of stuff, now that makes life really difficult. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ron, I think Kyrie Irving against Drew Holiday, I think he's shooting less than 20%. I think he's 2 for 8 against Kyrie Irving. I mean, against Drew Holiday. When those two guys are together, when he's guarding him. So when you have a defender on you like that, and the stuff that you're normally used to getting, the spots that you're normally used to getting to, because we leave out also, Mars, that Drew Holiday is actually bigger than Kyrie Irving. Bigger than him, more physical. 6'4". Yeah, bigger than him, more physical, beats him to spots. And and ball players can attest to this. Ball handlers, primary ball handlers, they do not like to be touched. Get your hand off me. Get this guy's hand off me. They don't like that. That throws them off their rhythm. That throws them off of their game. And the fact that Drew Holiday is doing that to Kyrie Irving, whom, by the way, is one of the better scorers when he gets going, it's really affected him.
But it ain't even just Drew. JB had him locked up on the wing.
Yes, he did.
On that 24-second violation that they had.
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying they got so many people that can throw at you at once. Now, the only one that's like a little iffy is Tatum, because he's just not as like agile in space as Derek and Drew and JB. So I get it, but like, but some of this is here's the thing, bro. This is where the JT stuff comes back to. The chill, you asked me, like, or Ox asked about your bad shooting. If JT yesterday, if he shot 48% from the field, I mean, made some of those shots, they would have waxed them.
I don't even go that high, Swipe. We don't got to go to 48.
If he doesn't miss 4 bunnies, the game is being.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's the layups.
Yeah,
it's the layups.
Miss those 4 bunnies. Yeah.
If he makes the layups, it's over. Like, this game is it's clear.
Going away. They win.
So that's the difference. So I'm saying that is the difference between JT here and then JT here. If he finishes those 3 extra buckets a game that are high efficiency looks and doesn't take that turnaround chill and makes another decision with the ball, then like I'm saying, like, it's not even a close concept 5 minutes in. Go ahead.
And to Mars's Mars, really quickly, to your point, when you talk about a guy providing that value, even when they're not doing what they normally do, that may be higher than somebody else. I just feel like I feel like when you're occupying the team's best defender primarily, I think that's a big deal, especially when they rely on that guy to score too.
I think, that's why I say Boston's kind of an outstanding circumstance, because
Yeah.
like they're like one of the only teams where if you think Drew's their best defender, once again, I don't think that's something worth arguing. They have so many great defenders that it's like cool. It's kind of like the Jason Kidd best player thing, which we're probably going to end up talking about. But yeah, Boston's kind of outstanding circumstances. Generally speaking, I do agree with that. But like, I looked it up because I was intrigued. Kyrie has a 50% true shooting on his drives in the playoffs. That's not good. Like, that's not good. And he's driving about 11-ish times a game. Really, it's like 11 or 12 times a game. In contrast, when we look at Shea, he's driving like 26 times a game.
Almost triple.
Like there's a difference. So like, even though Shea's a tough shot maker, and you look at the Dallas series, OKC versus Dallas, he couldn't even drive and get all the way to the rim because of the way they were defending and loading up, and he's still driving that much. That level of pressure on defenses is something that, even though I think Kyrie is more skilled than Shea, he can do more things. He has more counters, which is crazy because Shea is like, Jesus Christ. But like, I still think Kyrie is more skilled, but that's why I say skill versus function. I think you can be less skilled but still be more functional. Shea still provides more value offensively, in my opinion, because of his ability to get downhill at will. His ability, he doesn't need to get to 4 counters to get to where he wants to go. So even though the counters might be an indication of extra skill, do you need it? Like, do you need to have 17 counters? You might be more, you might be more skilled because you can also, if someone cuts you off, you can spin back, and then you've got the hezzy, then you got the tween, then also you got the sidestep, you got the snatch back, you got every counter that exists. But if you only need to get to 1 counter to get to where you want to go, you might be less skilled, but you're more functionally effective.
That's why Jabal was what he was. I got this one move. Stop this and you stop me.
Well,
I played 20 years.
A lot of that is due to size. And Mars, you already touched on this, but another guy I'm gonna bring up is Jaylen Brown. He has to use those counters not Jaylen Brown, my bad, Jalen Brunson. He has to use those counters because he has to create the space to get his shot off. Like I was watching like a little Jalen Brunson clip last night. I was just scrolling through TikTok, and one of his clips came up, and it was him just countering people to death. Jalen Brunson has to get to 2 to 3 moves at least to get to the hoop. Unless it's just, obviously, it's sometimes where he could just get straight line drives. But for the most part, against a good defender, he got to take you one way, cross you back the other way, step back, and then do another move, spin or something like that. Kyrie's the same way. As opposed to guys like bigger dudes like Jaylen Brown. It's like, I'm so athletic and I'm so big. All I got to do is take 2 dribbles and out jump.
Well, did you answer the question earlier between Jalen Brunson and Kyrie? Who do you think is more offensively talented?
I got to go with Kyrie. I have to.
Yeah, Kyrie's more skilled than Jaylen Brown.
Who's better offensive player?
You said Jalen Brunson.
Better offensive player.
Oh, Jalen Brunson or Jaylen Brown?
No, Jalen Brunson and Kyrie.
Oh, I said Jaylen Brown. Jalen Brunson at this point, I think.
Yeah, I think Ox is we're not Ox. Ron's struggling with that.
I'm not. I'm taking Kyrie. I think Kyrie does the same thing in that New York system. You give Kyrie 23 shots a night.
Well, it's not about like you can't just give someone 23 shots. They have to generate 23 shots.
Kyrie, first of all, now Kyrie's not an elite shot generator.
No, it's not to say that. Well,
but like, I'm once again like Jalen Brunson
would struggle against the Celtics too.
Ron, you're a basketball player, Ron. Defense is.
I'm not holding against Kyrie the Boston series. Like, once again, Boston are outstanding circumstance. No matter how people want to slice it, he struggled against OKC. You can call it he deferred.
Oh, no.
You can call it he deferred. He struggled against OKC.
Like, he struggled against the team though.
Yeah, for sure. But like,
they said he was conserving himself for the next round. In a competitive series, they said he was conserving himself for the next round,
which is nuts.
I've never heard that in my life.
Like, and I'm a Kyrie guy. Like, I'm not trying to hate on Kyrie. I still think he's more skilled than a lot. He's more skilled than Jalen Brunson, in my opinion, which isn't a knock in Jalen Brunson. But like, just in terms of functionality, I think he falls behind, and it's in large part because he's not a downhill rim force. And like, if you're small by necessity, unless you're an outlier athlete, Ja Morant type, De'Aaron Fox quickness, those guys, unless you're those guys, or you can shoot from
Just imagine John Morant
70,000
next to Luka.
unless you can shoot from 70,000 feet away. So you're just extending defenses out. Damian Lillard, Trae Young, Steph Curry. Either that or the outlier athlete as a 6'2" guy is going to be difficult for you to impact defenses the same way and generate good looks without having to get to 90 million counters, which is why what Kyrie and Jalen Brunson do are so impressive. But it's why Donovan Mitchell looks so much better against this Boston defense. He's so explosive and he's such a great pull-up shooter.
That first step.
If you step up, he's able to get around you because of how quick he is. He's presenting extra issues that Kyrie just doesn't present at this point. And that's not to say Kyrie won't have an explosive game. I'm sure that it's possible there's a game in which Kyrie just doesn't miss the tough shots that he's been missing, and he has 37 on great efficiency. It's possible. I don't think that changes the overall landscape of Kyrie, which is why I'm like, this is why I'm not overreacting to this series when it comes to Jason Tatum or Kyrie, unless it's something that I haven't seen before. Jason Tatum's the only difference for Jason Tatum is that I think he's missing some threes that he'd normally make. Everything else, I'm like, I had these concerns about Jason Tatum. I don't think his hand was very good. I don't think he's a great finisher, especially through contact. The mid-range game has never impressed me. If in everything, the pass thing has actually moved me more than I thought it would. He's made great decisions. Like he's like we all know, he's driving because they're blowing by Luka every time. They're put like once again, like we spoke about.
But again, to be fair, DJJ and PJ and them are getting walk by too. That made no sense to me. Don't make no sense.
But I mean, PJ's
that's all they there for, Mark. That's all you there for.
PJ's not the latter. He's not the quickest, and Dallas is a bad. Boston is a bad matchup for Dallas. The personnel they got, it was great trades. I'm not saying don't do the trades, but they're just a bad matchup for Boston. Daniel Gafford is on a great.
But remember, we had this conversation before the series part. People were yelling back and forth and all that stuff. They don't have the athletes. Boston got athletes up and down the line, and they're all skilled, every single one of them, and they're all vets, every single one of them, and they've all been here before for the most part, every single one of them. So it's just
they're in cohesion too, because you can have great athletes, and we could be like the Keystone Cops. I'm bumping into Ox is bumping into Mars, and they're on the same page defensively. So that's what makes them better. The fact that as good as Jrue Holiday is as a defender, the fact that Jaylen Brown is as good as he is as a defender, they know when to switch. They know how to switch. They know how to get around screens. They know when to go under screens. They know when to curl, how to help off a curl cut, right? They know when spacing comes, how far away to get from a guy. They know how to beat guys. Jrue Holiday is a prime example of that. I know that Kyrie Irving is just as good with his weak hand as he is with his strong hand. So I'm going to force him to his strong hand. And when I know I cut his strong hand off, he's going to go back to that weak hand. I already know that. So I'm going to beat him to the weak hand before he gets to that. That's called anticipation. And he's a great anticipator in doing that. So with that being said, this team is in unison defensively, which makes them even better offensively.
Yo, right quick.
Go ahead.
Before we get to these super chats, I want to get back to the Kyrie Jalen Brunson thing. Mm-hmm. Do you guys remember when they played against the 76ers? What Jalen Brunson shot the first game?
I think he was like 8 for 27 or something like that.
The first two games he was like 30% from the field.
Yeah.
8 for 26, had 22 points.
5
turnovers.
You saying like
the second
Kyrie can have that turn up?
The second game, he was 8 for 29 with 24 points. What I'm saying is, when you're that type of guy and you have to shoot, like your game is predicated on all tough shots. Mm-hmm. When it's not going, it's just not going.
He is not going to have the opportunity. Jalen Brunson had to do that.
But the Sixers changed their defense after the first two games because they were down 2-0 because Josh Hart didn't miss a three.
Going to do that.
They were throwing everything at Jalen Brunson in large part, which is why he was so inefficient. Yep. And then their defensive coverage eased up the next couple of games, and Jalen Brunson gave them 200 points in 2 games. So then it was like a bit more. It was a bit more. We're loading up. We're like going to shrink the floor, but we're not going to overtly send doubles. And then he was still efficient in the last 2 games. But the first 2 games, they just threw everything at him, which is why he was so inefficient. But they lost because everyone else was making shots, and Jalen Brunson made good reads, and Josh Hart turned into Steph Curry. So that's why he was so inefficient.
I hear what you're saying. Are they loading up on Kyrie?
No.
Or are they letting him play?
I think that I mean, depends how you define loading up. They're shrinking the floor.
Yeah.
But that's because they're shrinking off. They're shrinking off of PJ and Derrick
PJ.
Jones.
Yeah.
Which is why this is also like basketball's a team game. It's not all about Kyrie's flaws.
Yeah.
Kyrie's flaws are being amplified because of the fact that they aren't respecting PJ and Derrick Jones, and they're not even in the gaps. They're just standing there, like they're just saying, "Hey, come this way. There's two for you right here," because we aren't worried about closing out to Derrick Jones. Which is why, like, the switching Boston do is so impactful, because you can be late on a switch. Derrick Jones ain't gonna shoot it. Like, there was a play game
And
one.
if he does,
I vividly remember it. Game one. Vividly is a strong word. I don't remember the quarter, but I vividly remember seeing it. Kyrie had the ball at the top of the key. Derek White's guarding him. Kyrie gets a bit of separation. He throws it to Derrick Jones on the wing. He gets ready for a give and go. Derek White is behind the play. Al Horford instantly switches to Kyrie, takes his cut, and Derek White is late to Derrick Jones. But he's not even looking at the rim, so there's no consequence of actually that pill switch being late. No consequence. Now, if that's a willing shooter, you've given up an open three. But because he's not a willing shooter, your switches and your communication can be off a little bit, and you're still fine, and it's great defense. Like, Al Horford's awareness there to take up and them pill switching there is great. But the fact that they were late and there's no consequence because he's not a willing shooter, you can afford to be late, which is why I'm like, I don't know what Jason Kidd does here. Besides, like, implementing more Spain or staggered screens, at the end of the day, they're going to end up switching, and they're going to force Derrick Jones to shoot above the break.
Spain will work, and they're trying to deflect you from switching.
Sure.
Like, they're not, like, I'm going to switch. You're going to see another defender. Go ahead, Joe.
And to Miles's point, against a team like Dallas with unwilling shooters like Derrick Jones or streaky shooters like PJ Washington, you can afford to make mistakes like that. You can't afford to make mistakes like that against the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry and Clayton. I can't afford to make a mistake like that because I'm going to get buried. You can't afford to make mistakes like that against Chris Middleton. You can't, because he's going to crack that, right? You can't afford to make mistakes like that. But against a team like Dallas, where Derrick Jones Jr. isn't a willing shooter who can knock down a shot from time to time, sure, but is not a willing shooter, I can be late on getting back to him when he's at the long ball line. Now, the difference is here, to Mars's point, well, what do we do? Because I can't take Derrick Jones off the floor and put Green on the floor, because now what I'm doing is I got the, not only do I have the exact same problem, it's even worse on defense, because we did not talk about this. We did not talk about this, which I got to give Joe Mazzulla credit. Joe Mazzulla puts KP at that nail. He gets that switch action going, and they switching Kyrie Irving onto KP. They switching Green onto KP, and the plan is to get out of the way and go after him. That is I love that.
That's great. And Joe Mazzulla's a great coach. I don't care. The more I watch Boston, I don't care what anyone tells me. Joe Mazzulla's a great coach.
That
I don't
dude
care.
know the game,
like,
man.
His understanding and his creativity, he's an excellent coach. I don't care if you want to complain he doesn't call timeout. Shut up. I don't care. You don't know what coaching is. He's a great coach. He's a wonderful coach. He's one of the best coaches in the league. I don't care.
Yes.
But the thing that you're talking about when getting Kyrie and them switched on to Kristaps Porzingis, that's not Dallas's fault. Because once again, I spoke about when they have their 5 out, they put their 5 on the wing instead of at the top or in the corner. So what that does is Daniel Gafford's meant to be guarding Porzingis, but because you want to have Daniel Gafford loaded up to the ball side, if Porzingis is on the wing, that makes that rotation longer. So then they end up having to pre-switch and have like the small split the difference between whoever's in the corner and whoever's on the wing. And what they do, which is genius, if Kyrie or Josh Green, whoever's splitting the difference, whoever's in the strong side corner or weak side corner, usually is Drew or Derek White, he'll just cut through to the other side. And then guess what you got? You got an empty side post up with Porzingis on the small. Empty side. That's genius coaching. I don't care what you say. That's genius coaching. So the counter is we load up, we split the difference. Joe Mazzulla says, fine, go ahead and do that. Drew, clear out. Empty side post up. Can't do anything. Like, Joe Mazzulla's a great coach. I don't care what you tell me.
And to your point, and I want you to hop in on this too, Swipe Up. And to your point,
after this, we got to move on.
I know we got a
$25 super chat.
The switches that they have, those switches are by design. I want to make sure that people understand that when Dallas switches, when Boston forces Dallas to switch, they're not forcing them to switch and these guys are doing it willingly. No, that's by design. We're trying to get Kyrie Irving onto Kristaps Porzingis. We're trying to get Green onto Kristaps Porzingis in the mid post. And once we do that, We're completely clearing out the whole right side of the floor. I got a 7'3" guy and a 6'6" guy. Go after
No,
him.
they put him at the nail in the first half, the end of the second quarter.
Go
and
after
then
him.
KP would generate that little distance from him and get that shot over him. Yeah.
Go after him. Don't let him off the hook.
Yo, shout out to everybody that's in here. Go ahead and slap that like button and keep sending these super chats through so we can address how you guys feel. And let us know your thoughts and takes on these first two games. But as of right now, my man Iron Sharpens Iron sent through a $25 super chat. He said the Mavs in trouble. Can't contain the ball. No Mavs player can stop Boston from getting to the rim without collapse. Boston gets their looks. If both teams has shot 40% from three last night, Boston wins by 23 points. Boston plays both sides.
Maybe I'm a little bit different than y'all. I might not be seeing how easy it is to get to the rim that y'all do with Boston. Maybe I'm. What
do you mean? What do you mean?
Like with Jason Tatum and Jalen, like y'all might be seeing something different because I don't see how easy it is. Like y'all telling me that them dudes get to the rim whenever they want.
Yeah, they've
I
gotten.
think they get a paint touch like 3 times a possession.
Oh my
God.
And I'm watching the game. Like I'm watching Drew Holiday get to the rim. I'm watching Jason Tatum. I'm watching Jaylen Brown. Like maybe it doesn't look as easy. Maybe I'm missing something because I don't.
Maybe it's because they're not finishing at the rim. Like maybe that's what it is.
But
like they're getting into the paint every play. Like they're a drive and kick team. Dallas are a team that wants to protect the rim at all costs. But the issue with Boston, and we spoke about it, which is why this is a tough matchup, they have everyone who can make a decision with the ball. So, like, if you go against the regular team,
right,
they'll drive, they'll kick, and you'll eventually X out to a guy who can't really make a decision, a Lou Dort. Like, that's what OKC had. So when OKC were driving and kicking, you got Lou Dort or you're not closing out to Josh Giddey. So, like, you can kind of get back into where you want to be defensively. But the thing with Boston, they're relentless. Jason Tatum will get Luka. Come on. Drive. Okay, we're kicking. Now it's in the corner. You made that rotation. Okay, now swing to the wing. You close out. We're driving again. Okay, now you got to scramble to the other side. Kick. Oh, we've got a corner 3 or we're driving again. Like, every play is relentless. 3-4 paint touches every single time.
Get down.
And I don't know the counter Jason Kidd can throw out there other than, hey, guys, get more athletic. Hey, guys, make every single rotation we need.
Swiper, we go in the zone. I'm telling you, Swiper. We're going.
There is no counter. They're far superior.
They went to zone yesterday. So yesterday, the Boston Celtics were 20 of 27 at the rim yesterday for 74%. They got 27 looks at the rim. They converted 20. Now Dallas was 18 to 22. But I think a lot of that was in the second half.
Oh, that's a lot better than game 1.
Yeah, but 20 and 27. That's a lot of attempts. And again, that's a lot of drives. So I do think that. Again, but I think they're gonna go more zone. They can try to stay in front. I mean, they might try to just start sagging off and just like dare them to shoot more jumpers, but I don't know if they're gonna fall into that trap. Why would we fall into that trap? I can get by you when I want, I can post you up when I want, I can get to my spot when I want, I'll make your defense collapse. But yeah, they just don't have the athletes. And on top of that, again, if Luka is going to do as much as he's doing offensively and every single time, the only thing I can see them doing this next game, y'all, is now, when you're trying to bring Luka up, we're just going to show immediately, and we're going to recover. Because at this point, they're losing so many possessions with Luka as the primary defender because of that next action after the blow by that it might do them better just to simply say we're going to do a soft trap, show and recover. We're going to do anything we can to get him off, and that way, maybe by the time you get your shot up, it's like 8 seconds left on the shot clock. I'm saying that's what they might have to go to is what I'm saying. I really think they're losing the Luka on-ball defensive possessions drastically right now.
Soft trap or who? What do you mean by that?
So whoever it is, whoever it is. So even if it's Drew, well, I don't know, it's been Tatum or Brown. But I'm saying in that instance, instead of just switching Luka on to whoever the defender is, because they're not even necessarily just attacking Luka to attack Luka to score. They're attacking Luka to initiate their offense, Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Kidd, I might just not give that to him. That's what I'm saying.
How was
it's the Steph Curry tactic. It's what Steve Kerr's done for years. Is you're bringing Steph up to the level, and instead of conceding the switch, Steph will show, he'll tag, and then he'll recover. So like he'll give Wiggins. It was Wiggins against Dallas in 22 because that's what Dallas was doing against
the
him.
End of the second quarter.
And then you'll just let Wiggins get back, and then you're sprinting out, and everyone's rotating.
Just to answer your question, Knock, the end of the second quarter, they had 5 straight possessions where they targeted Luka. and they scored or got fouled on every single
Go
one
after
of
him.
them.
Go after him.
Yeah.
Don't let him
Some
off the
of
hook,
this is
yo.
he's tired.
Go
So again, I want to
after
be clear
him.
about this. Some of this is I legit think he's doing so much offensively
Mhm.
that like, well, what do y'all want me to do? I have to stop them and generate all of our offense on the other end. Is what you're saying? I think he's tired, but bro, they would literally get by him, and Luka, I don't think he had the energy. They would beat him to the rim, and Ox, he would literally just like they would connect the pass. He would just be like,
What the hell is this chest
Hey,
contusion about? What the hell is that about?
Oh,
Well,
no,
chill, damn
I
that
don't know,
chest
mate.
conclusion.
What the hell is that about?
If
He
you
might
gonna be
have
out there,
got
you got to
punched,
play
I don't
some damn defense. That it.
Ron, I told
I'm
you that.
watching it
Ron.
last night. It's just terrible.
I told you,
it's,
Ron.
it's really bad.
But I want to.
Ron,
It's not
Ron,
just
stop
Luka, like
hating.
that. They're taking advantage of Kyrie's lack of size too. So like, I want like it's not just Luka. They have Kyrie, like once again this dunker spot thing that they're doing. Joe Mazzulla's a genius. Kyrie is rim protection. He's getting cooked. Like Kyrie can't do anything. So like they're taking advantage of both of their limitations. Luka's ability in space and Kyrie's lack of size. Both of them are just getting abused defensively.
Just like I
And
told you.
they're taking Gafford and Lively out the series. Like
Completely taking them out the
Gafford
series.
defensively hasn't provided much value.
anything.
Lively has. He's a rookie, and I'm not saying he's a
Yeah.
bad player. This is a bad matchup. He's been borderline unplayable. Maxi Kleber won't look at the rim, and when he does, he can't shoot. And then he's driving on Porzingis and getting blocked. He's been borderline unplayable. They haven't had a playable big.
Y'all not shocked by this, are you?
Oh no, I said the series was probably going to be anticlimactic.
Yo,
Oh,
chill.
I'm just-
Dallas
I'm
the
just making
six.
sure.
Dallas
Y'all-
the six. Dallas the six.
Y'all did expect this, right?
I know one thing, Ox. We can't come
I-
back
I-
to Boston down 3-1. This series.
I
is
told
over
but Ox, I
if we
did
come back
say
to
That's
Boston down 3-1.
yo, chill. That's best case.
3-1 is
scenario.
3-1 is a best case scenario at this point.
Right.
You don't.
This
Whoa,
series-
whoa, whoa, whoa!
this
Y'all don't
series
think
might be a sweep.
y'all don't think we coming back to Boston?
No, I'm
No,
not
no,
saying
I think
that.
it's possible.
I think it can go to
That's what I'm saying. I'm not
I'm
saying
99% sure the only way this comes back to Boston is if it's a 3-1 series.
Right.
If it's 2-2, either Boston have shot egregiously bad from three, Dallas got extremely hot, or there's an adjustment that I'm not a basketball genius enough to see. Those are the only three options. And if Jason Kidd figures that out,
So it's a realistic
Credit to that.
possibility.
No.
Don't match.
So-
Chill.
so-
Remember,
so-
I told you
out of
before the
top
series,
8
I got
players in this
4-6
series.
leaning 4-1 for the look, Ox. I think Boston, they can get game 3. I think the only way we come back to game 5 at this point, not the only, but I'm saying one of the ways, I think Dallas gonna put up a dog fight, not to get swept.
Swiper, the
Dogfight.
best
I
out of
think
the
that's
top
game
out of the
three.
top
I
8
think that's
players
game
in this
3.
series, the top 8 players in this series, 6 of them play for Boston.
Let me see. So
You can't
Luka,
you can't win this series, bro. They're cooked.
Luka, Tatum, Brown, Drew, White, KP, Horford.
You
Been
didn't say
great.
Irv neither.
Yeah, why you
didn't
say
Irv.
Kyrie's name?
Yeah, you ain't say Irv neither.
'Cause-
No, I'm
You
getting
know,
I'm getting to the Celtics and then getting to the Kyrie. Like
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to-
because I mean, Luka. So we can go Luka, JB and JT,
Mhm.
Kyrie.
No.
Are we
talking about the best players generally or the best
I'm talking about the best. I'm talking about the best
Yeah,
players.
yeah.
I'm talking about the best players on these teams. I'm not
Okay.
talking about who's
Okay.
playing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
best right now. I'm talking
yeah,
about the
that's
best
right.
players
Yeah.
on this team. And,
Okay.
the best players on this team of the top 8,
6 of
them
8
play for Boston.
are Celtics.
Right. So you
Knox
can't
though.
win, bro. You
And
can't
then
win.
after
the
that-
reason why I'm not
and then-
jacking that,
You
the
can't
reason
win
why I'm
like
not
that,
jacking that,
bro.
hold on,
You
Swiper.
can't
The
win
reason why
like
I'm not
that,
jacking
bro.
that,
Ox,
the
that's
reason
the
why I'm not
Jacking it, what does
jacking
that
that
mean?
Sounds like
is
we
because
overmatched. That's what it
that's
sounds
been the case with Dallas all season.
What does the colloquialism mean? What does that
Nobody's
mean?
been high on PJ.
No, that's not true. What are you talking about?
That's not true, Ron.
Ron, what are you talking about? Ron, what are you talking about? Yep.
Keep going, Ron. Ron, keep going, Ron. Keep going, Ron. Keep going, Ron. Keep
Well,
going.
I heard you say nobody was that high on Gafford.
Nobody's
Keep
been
going.
nobody's
Okay,
been this
keep
high
going,
on
Ron.
Gafford. Nobody's
keep
been
going.
this high on PJ. Nobody's been this high on Derrick Jones Jr. And the point that I'm trying to make is you can say that that's been the case, and it might not be to the level of 8 players, but you can say that's been the case in every
No,
series they
that's
played
not
in.
how the last series
Swiper,
went.
you don't even know what I'm talking
Keep
about.
going.
hurry
Keep going,
up.
Ron. Keep going, Ron. Keep going.
I'm talking about that's been the case with all of their series. You can say the same thing with OKC, that none of those guys was better than their top 5 players except Luka and Kyrie. You can definitely say the same case
That's
with
not
the
true, though,
Clippers.
Ron.
No, that's
You
not
can definitely
true.
say the same
You can't
case
say that, Ron.
with
No,
the
Ron,
Wolves. So-
that's the
so
problem.
let's do
He
the
just
Wolves.
averaged,
So let's do
PJ
the
averaged
Wolves.
20 points a game in that series on
So
44% from
Yeah,
three.
I'm not like bringing up
Ron,
bringing up
the Wolves
bringing up
might be the
like,
only
they
one you got a little
won
action in
because
with that, but
PJ
the
and
other
Derrick
teams
Jones did what they aren't doing right now.
And Ron, what you trying to say?
So what?
If they played this way, they wouldn't have got past the Thunder.
So what makes you guys think that PJ can't start making shots?
That's what I said. If this
What?
series comes
They're
back
still
to
gonna
Boston,
lose?
I just said if this series comes back to Boston, it's because Dallas get on a heater from three, which
So
is
we're going,
Derrick Jones and
back to
PJ
Dallas, right?
don't miss the threes that are being conceded. That's
Right.
how they have to win.
So
Offensively, there's not a game plan other than the guys who they are letting shoot need to shoot and need to make them. Because Luka's doing everything he can in this one-on-one game. Boston are making it. Kyrie has to be better. So for sure, Kyrie has to be better. But that also comes down, Kyrie has to make shots. PJ and Derrick Jones have to be willing and have to make the shots from three they are being given. PJ at least is getting into the paint and throwing up his floaters and making it, at least. But that's how they have to win. So yes, I said, if you think this series is going to go any other way, you have to be betting on
come on, Mars. But the reason why he's saying that is because this is what we saw against Oklahoma City. They were daring him to make
and
shots.
I told
you,
you
did that.
I told you OKC with a better team.
PJ
did that.
Did that. So seeing him do that, why is it ridiculous to think that?
Because chill, this basketball, like I feel where you're coming from. He gets all the credit for doing it against OKC, all the credit. I'm not trying to knock the young fella for that. Right. He knocked down those shots. But I was saying then, like, okay, he's not gonna keep doing that. Like this, we chill. You was more so talking about Derrick Jones on the defensive end, but just riding Derrick Jones Jr. to a championship as a role player is not. It's just not.
I said this before the series started, Mars. Bro,
like, there's no way that's gonna happen, chill.
That the plan is make Derrick Jones, make PJ Washington, make those guys make shots,
right?
And make those guys make shots, not just
once.
Well,
why, chill? Why are you saying that though, chill? Why was that your way to winning?
The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think it's sustainable as a defense if you got Kyrie Irving and Luka going for 70. Going for 65.
So is it not sustainable for Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington to shoot like Klay Thompson?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's not sustainable.
And that's what I'm thinking. If
they just happen to do it for 6 straight games. But
that's what I'm saying. If
6 is not a lot of games, Mars. They've been playing.
I say that all the time. Series,
that's not a lot of games.
Variance is a real thing. It's just unfortunate for OKC that all 6 games came against them.
Same thing the Timberwolves did.
But see, remember I was asking y'all in the and it sounded crazy. I guess I was sounding like a Nimrod, but I'm like, is there really such thing as playoff droppers, or do people just, is it basketball? People just get hot and cold at the wrong times. People just go in slumps. It's a roller coaster ride in basketball. You hot sometimes, you cold sometimes. Sometimes you end up being cold. And
it has a lot to do with defenses too, Ox. It's not just
defense ramps up in the playoffs, and that can affect misses.
Yeah, but people still get cold. Chill, you cannot deny this. Your boy, let's go straight to your boy. Is he cold or is he getting locked up? No, I'm asking you a question. Is he cold or is he getting locked up? Which one is it?
He's been cold on his jumper all playoffs.
He's been cold a month and a half. And all year
is right. It's a game of runs. It's a game of waves. Sometimes it's just not falling, and that's my point with Kyrie. I'm not like, yes, Boston plays defense. Yes, Drew's amazing. Derrick's amazing. Jaylen Brown's amazing. Kyrie's just not making his shots.
Ron,
that's all I'm leaning on.
Ron, before this
Kyrie sees the ball go in next game, we liable to see a 30-piece.
Yeah, but look, Ron, before the series was starting, that's what I'm saying. I was on one of those highs with Kyrie because of what he was just doing. And so I'm thinking Kyrie's gonna come and do a little bit more of that series, this series, right? Mm-hmm. But I said before that, with the type of defense that the Boston Celtics can play, especially on the perimeter, with those guys, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis can move their feet. You can switch with these guys, right? When you have that level of defense, in order for Kyrie to do what we think Kyrie can do, he's going to have to make incredible shots. He's going to have to play out of his mind because the defensive pressure is just that high with this team. I'm with you. I think Kyrie can do that. How many times have I told you this is the 6'2" version of Kobe Bean Bryant? So I think he can knock some shots down. I think he can get hot, but it's gonna be incredible. It's gonna be one of the dopest showings in the playoffs we've seen if Kyrie really goes like that against this team.
It's gonna look ridiculous. But once again, and we can move on right after this. This is for like context. OKC is the only team that's defended Dallas similarly in terms of scheme as Boston. Everyone else did it differently. Against OKC, Dallas shot 16 corner threes a game in the series. 16. Against Boston, they are shooting 4. That is the difference in the series. The shots they are conceding are the above the break threes that PJ isn't really comfortable shooting. He hasn't shot the 3 well in this series at all, but he's got into the paint and done other things. Credit to him for that. And Derrick Jones, I think made 1, the first play of game 1. That's what he's done.
This is why Mars wants to take out the corner 3 in the NBA. That's why Mars Adamo was talking about.
I seen it coming. But like
for real though.
But generally, that's the difference in the series. The corner threes. That's what Boston have taken out the series, and Derrick Jones has become unplayable offensively, and PJ hasn't shot the ball well. And they've taken away the lobs because of all their switching, and they've kept Jason Tatum low, but then they tried to switch that up by having Biggs bring up the ball. That I don't know what they can do.
Well, I mean, I know Derrick Jones and PJ. I'm gonna leave PJ out of this because I still got supreme confidence in PJ. Derrick Jones, though, it's like, yeah, he does bring you athleticism. He brings you defense.
Are you saying
he's a pest?
Junior minutes?
No. I'm Maxi.
Yeah, I am.
Hey, Maxi, you've been known to be a shooter. My dog.
Last night I was with y'all doing Tim Hardaway wrong right now.
Get Maxi Kleber.
Nah, that Maxi shoulder. I don't think he's right. I don't
know what bars they would know. They would know better than we do. But if his shoulder is somewhat good, it's like Maxi. We need you to come in and spark something. Our hope damn near.
You got Tim Hardaway right there, right?
I'm not gonna lie. If we're relying on Maxi, because they clearly told him to be aggressive in game 2, because the difference between game 1 and game 2 in terms of aggressiveness was drastic. The first play of the game, bricked a 3. Second play of the game, airballed a 3. Third play of the game, tried to drive on Porzingis and got blocked. He's not going to give you the offense you need. Like,
I'm talking about just shooting. Hey, but what is Maxi? Would you define Maxi Kleber as a shooter, as a good shooter?
I think he's a 3-and-D guy.
I think he can make him. I think he's a threat.
My thing is, we need somebody out there that can shoot. So the 3 guys that I'm thinking of, and I'm more so leaning to Maxi Kleber because I think he's just better defensively and can rebound and has more size than these guys. It's A, Maxi Kleber, B, Tim Hardaway Jr., or C, and I'm not mad at this option too.
Please don't say that.
Put in the Morris twin.
Hell
Put
no.
in the Morris twin. Why not?
So
I
thought you were going to say Dante.
I think the only option if those 3 is Tim Hardaway, and that's acknowledging the horrible.
Did you see Dante Exum
and the horrible defense?
Did y'all watch Dante Exum?
He looked like he couldn't get the ball out of his hands fast enough.
Dante complain.
Maxi Kleber also can't play in this series. Did you watch Maxi Kleber minutes?
No,
Athletically,
I agree.
Defense. No, I'm looking at Ron. Ron brought the name. They all played except for Tim. There's a reason why Tim isn't playing too, though. Tim, hopefully, he can make some shots, but Tim also is getting roasted and cooked up too on the other end. That's the point.
Swiper, that's the thing. I expect them all to get cooked on defense. At this point, the defense is a wash. I'm like, come in and make a 3.
Put Tim Hardaway in. So then put Tim Hardaway in. Or Jaden Hardy. One of them.
Take DJ out.
I don't think you have any option in this. Like I understand that he was playing bad during the season and this and that, but he got to play, bro. Like what might not have worked against lesser teams might just work against a better team. It happens like that sometimes. Let Tim Hardaway go shoot. Tim Hardaway is a shooter. He's been a shooter all his life. Well, as far as
you don't have to worry about him not looking at the rim, because I promise the only thing he does is look at the rim. So
he's gonna
that's it, bro.
If
when he come on the floor, he is shooting the basketball.
If you want an aggressive role player, so when they help off, he's willing to shoot. That's THJ. Yes. The issue is going to come that he's going to take some horrible shots. So now it's a risk versus reward. Do you take the value of him taking and hopefully making the open shots, and then you live with the egregious shots he's going to take and the horrible defense? Maybe. No. But that's why Boston,
they're going to lose anyway.
Boston don't have to compromise with their guys. Their guys do the things that they need them to do. They don't have to compromise. Ooh, can we play Sam Hauser? Because, even though he can shoot, the defense is terrible. That's not true. Sam Hauser can guard. Peyton Pritchard. Oh, well, I mean, even if he's not making shots, what does he bring? Oh, you know what? We don't even have to play Peyton Pritchard in this game if we don't need to. Oh, Al Horford, what's he going to bring? Oh, guess what? We still shoot threes and we can switch. Oh, KP, how's he feeling? Oh, well, I guess we're just a walking mismatch at 7-3. They just have everything they need. So they don't have to worry about, oh, this role player can't really do this, so he's more situational. That's why
the ones that they don't, and the ones that they do have, they don't play him, like Cornette, right? Guys
Exactly.
like that. Yeah,
Exactly.
They don't play.
That's why Boston's just a better team.
Yeah.
And I guess it took all the way till the finals for people to realize, this team that only lost 18 games in the regular season, only lost 2 games in the playoffs, had one of the highest net ratings of all time, was the best offense in the league, was the best half-court offense in the league, was the 3rd best defense in the league. Maybe they're a great team.
Maybe.
Well,
But
I think a lot of this
How it took till June.
Dallas
for people
is
to
their
realize
best
this team was
matchup.
great.
I think Dallas also is their best matchup too. Like again, this is also to the point. Dallas cannot play with these dudes consistently. Consistently, this is the question. Consistently play with them and or outplay them. So Dallas is trying to play with them, and then they're spending so much energy to get to this level that when Boston then starts making their shots for 3 minutes, it goes from 2 to 14. That's what happened yesterday. And then they missed some shots, got down to 4 again, and then they made their shots again, and then they're up 15 again. Like that's what this series is Dallas trying to keep up with the Celtics. And then not being able to do so.
Dallas and 6. We coming back to Boston time.
The worst version of Mars is Agenda Mars, by the way.
Nah, I don't want Boston to win. Dallas and 6.
All right, so I got to get to these super chats, but what I do want to let you guys know is we're about to break down game 2 and even game 1 right on Playback TV. You see this, it's pinned at the top of the chat. Click this link. We go in at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. Pacific, about 40 minutes. Y'all jump over there with us. Be prepared for us to basically get into the eye test. We've been talking about eye tests a lot. Now we get to really put the eye test to the test. But all right, let me shout out all of our members and tell everybody, if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and slap that like button. Kobe West,
or
03.
slap yourself if you ain't like the video.
For that. Kobe West 03 became a member today. Shout out to him. Official Teak also became a member. Shout out Official Teak. And Jamaican Me Wild has been a member for a month. And he just said Wagwan.
Wagwan, my old Wagwan.
Nice.
Shout out to all of them. Also want to shout out our Hall of Fame members. My man Kendall Daniels. Big shout out to him. Dorian Clayton. Bigger shout out to him as well. ZK. What?
Sorry. Why he get a bigger shout out than Kendall Daniels?
He been a member for longer. He been a Hall of Famer for longer. And it's levels for the Hall of Fame tier too.
First ballot.
ZKJ said, I think they need balanced roster rather than a big 2. Move picks in Gafford plus Cleaver for Miles Turner. Keep some rim protection, but a stretch 5 and move Kyrie for a young defensive guard like Suggs and picks and a knockdown league like Cam Johnson.
Y'all don't like this?
He's going the route of we've got a heliocentric player instead of having the secondary star, just get the competent role pieces of defense, shooting, stretch. We can run 5 out. Luka can get where he wants and he'll dictate everything. I don't think you can win that way in the modern NBA, but maybe you can. I just don't like getting rid of the lob threat for a stretch big, personally. I think you want to have both of them. I think you want to have a lob threat and you want to have a stretch big. If you can get Obi Toppin, maybe. But I think he'll just fill the Derrick Jones Jr. role, and he's egregious on defense. So ideally, you want a lob threat big who can also shoot.
I can't believe how bad Obi Toppin.
No.
I can't believe how bad Obi Toppin is defensively. And I didn't realize it until the Pacers series when he played against the Celtics. I was like, yo, this dude is a cone.
He was horrible at Dayton, too. He's horrible.
This dude for real is a cone. I can't believe that this guy can't guard. The athlete that he is. And I saw him with the Knicks. And I always thought, and this may sound crazy, but I always thought that he, as a basketball player, I don't think he's that smart. And the fact that when he got with the Pacers, they basically dumbed down his role. All you got to do, run the floor, get on the glass, knock down open threes. But then when you play teams like the Celtics, when you play teams with better schemes and they put him in action defensively, he looks like a 3rd grader in a pre-algebra class.
He wasn't a good defender at Dayton. That was the thing coming in. Offensively, he seemed to have like all of it. He even showed he could pass.
Yeah.
Defensively, he was all over the place. So, that's been the case with him. When did he come in? 2020? Yeah,
COVID.
Yeah, so that's been the case for all 4 years of years of his career and in college. He's
He
just
thought
not
that they
a
were going to
defender.
win in that. He
Question:
said
How
that
many
if
how
they
many
had-
plus players do you think the Mavs have in their roster in their series right now? Like can
Plus
win
players
their minutes?
for this series?
Yes, can win their minutes in this series.
0.
Luka, Kyrie, and
I mean, can Luka win the minutes if he's the one of the big reasons they're getting torched on defense and offensively their offense isn't enough to keep up? And that's not a knock on Luka, but can they win the Luka minutes?
well, they're like a -9 so far, -12 this series. I think with Luka on the court, maybe something like that. So yeah, but I think that's the thing. He's going to have to pop off for 3 of the 4 quarters, I think, in order for that to happen with the way they're playing, unless they adjusted their game plan as of right now.
But generally, I understand what you're saying. So Luka, I think, yeah.
But the problem,
Kyrie,
Mars,
yeah.
the problem with Luka is and I said this to you guys, and I got roasted. The fact that he has to do so much, this is what happens. You seeing what's going on now with how much he has to do in order for them to win. Now these guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Now we have this with Luka. Now Luka looks like a minus because now he's got to do even more. Now he's got to score more. Now he's got to get on the glass more. As opposed to if those other guys could do their jobs, they would be in they would be in a much better position.
I don't think he has to do all that much. Chill. That's just the way he plays basketball. That's just how it is to play with Luka Doncic. He doesn't like that team doesn't have to play like that. You know what I'm saying? When they're moving the ball and guys are catching on the move and doing that, it looks good in Dallas. It looks good in Dallas when that offense is moving, when Kyrie's catching the ball in motion. I think the biggest problem is not the Dallas Mavericks. The biggest problem is they're playing the Boston Celtics, and it looks
Personnel.
so, you know what I'm saying? So it just looks like this. Like they're still a really good team. They're in the final. This is the NBA Finals. So
Yes, it is.
you know this is not the Dallas Mavericks are by no stretch of the imagination a bad team in my eyes. I said what I said earlier, but the playoffs have showed me. They're playing basketball down there in Dallas. So I don't think this is really a knock on them. I don't think there's a bunch of huge problems in Dallas. I don't think they need to be like, oh, we need to make some trades. Like, I mean, y'all just.
Well, if you want to win, you got to build your team to be Boston. Like that's just the landscape of the league.
I can dig that. I can
so
dig that.
they might have
I
to
can
make
dig
some
that.
moves.
Well, wait a minute, Mars. Hang on, because we seen this movie already. Because Minnesota built their team to beat Denver, and then they ran.
That's
into a
what I'm saying.
buzzsaw.
But
yeah, but I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you only build because if you build a team to be Boston, you're likely not going to be able to beat a team like Denver. Just because
that's the whole
That's the
thing about the
problem.
NBA playoffs. It's
Right.
everything. It's
everything's
matchups.
about matchups. Yeah, that's why
Everything.
the best
'Cause
team
Boston
doesn't
was-
always win. Now Boston is the outside.
Boston would look
They're the
much
best team.
different versus other teams because of the way they're structured. But the Mavericks in particular, they just don't got it. Like they just don't. They're just not. It's just not going to be there. It's just not going to be there, man. And so,
like if Boston ended up playing Oklahoma City, how much different does this?
well,
how much
the
different
series
does
is
this
different
series
just
look?
because now having Chet, Lou, SGA,
Mhm.
plus J-Dub, they got 3 ball handlers that can beat you off the dribble basically with the Thunder. And even obviously, you know, like
You got to
they
stretch
would have to
five
make their
off no
shots.
score.
And Shea
But-
puts a different level of pressure on the defense. To lose.
Exactly.
Not a better. I'm not saying
Just
better.
different. Just
different
different.
level of
Okay.
pressure.
Even the
Just in terms of-
Wolves are just a functionally different team. Like,
Basically,
there's-
OKC and 5.
No.
All
Mars,
I'm
Mars,
saying
Mars,
is-
right, like
Mars.
6.
No, all
OKC
I'm
is 6.
saying is, I know I wasn't crazy when I said OKC could have beat Dallas. That's what I know I wasn't crazy. Mark Daigneault had a good game plan. The players they just wanted
It
to
worked
beat
too,
them.
Mars. I mean, because they
Chill.
won some games. It actually
Chill.
did work.
Up 20 in a game 7 and could have faced this.
Oh yeah, your team stinks though.
I'm seeing it again, Chill.
I'm sorry if I brought that up. I apologize.
Because the Mavs would have got and then,
Oh, I definitely think Denver beats Dallas. I do. I think that they beat them.
All right,
Shout
so
out
I
to
gotta
Dallas.
get
No
to these
answer
super
for
chats.
Joker. None.
I got a super chat from G Firm. He says, "Shouts out to the panel. Love and appreciate y'all for getting me through my runs as a truck driver."
That's what we here
No,
for, brother. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what we here
that's a
for.
fact.
Absolutely, my man.
that's hours of work.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I used to drive a bus, so I know where you at. Mm-hmm.
What kind of
I
bus?
still can't drive. So
I used
Like
to work
a
for a
school-
you what you call it? I used to work for Academy Bus, and we used to make runs from like South Florida to North Carolina, South Florida to Georgia. So,
how
and the
far is
department the Department of Transportation only allows people with CDLs. You only allowed to drive 10 hours. That's it.
that? Only.
Mm.
That's as far. Yeah, that's as far as you're allowed to drive. Yeah, you're only allowed to drive 10 hours. So, you know, when you're on an open road, you need something to do, and you need something to occupy your time. So I can definitely appreciate what he's talking about.
That's facts. And especially when we up here arguing.
Christopher D said that dumb challenge in the first quarter hurt the Mavs on that controversial no call.
I'm
Block.
going
Oh
nuts.
yeah, that was a foul.
fucking going nuts.
That was a foul.
What
I
happened?
actually-
Who fouled who?
Well, it was
Jaylen Brown
PJ.
pushed him in the back.
No.
He
He's
took-
talking
not
about
in
the first
fourth.
quarter with the block.
With-
It was
with the
on
block.
the
Oh
hand.
no,
With-
that was a clean block. That was a clean block.
Yeah.
Hands was
And
yeah.
yo, these dudes do this all the time. Where it's Luka, it's Edwards, it's all of these guys where they start right in the first quarter. I'm like, you're gonna need this challenge later in the game. You're gonna need this challenge later in the game. It's one foul. It's not a big deal. We just started the game. Okay, maybe they did get it wrong. We don't have to challenge everything. We don't.
I don't mind the players doing this. I'm mad at the coaches for listening.
The coach should, yeah. But Jason Kidd's been good with his challenges this year. That was just a bad challenge. Like, I don't know what the thought process was, because I know every coach, like, they have their team with their little iPads who watches the replay and tells them if it's a good challenge. So I don't know what they're doing, saying, yeah, that's a good challenge. You guys should know hands is part of the ball. So I don't know why they did that. But you can't challenge the PJ Washington dunk because they never made the call of a foul. So you just have to live with that. But that was a foul, and the refs got that wrong. And that would have made it a 3-point game with under a minute to go.
He got pushed in the back.
That doesn't mean they would have won.
One possession game. Yeah.
That doesn't mean they would have
But
won.
do they call
but the
that
refs
pushing
took away
back
the
a lot on those dunks? Though?
Yeah, they do.
Because
Well, I see. But that's
KP had
still
one.
pushing
KP had one on the Gafford lob. KP literally put both hands on his back. It was a foul. It should have been called. It's just that they didn't call it at that point in time. So like even early in the game.
That's why. But there's a difference between putting your hands on the guy.
No. He pushed him and he was in the air. No, but
Jalen clearly
KP had
pushed
both
him.
hands and nudged him forward.
Yeah.
But I
Sounds
think
like that's 2 foul calls Dallas should have
But
got.
I think it was because KP's knee was acting up on him. He was trying to gather himself
I'm
a little
screaming
bit.
at the TV too, Mars. Get KP off the floor.
Oh yeah, when he was hobbling, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, get him off the floor now.
It didn't look like it was his calf though, so that's fine.
I think he got kicked.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right. He'll be out of game 3. But that was a foul. So Dallas fans, I know we're gonna get called haters in the comments for this because we're basically saying Boston are gonna win the series.
Mm-hmm.
For what it's worth, I think you could have won last night's game if that foul call happens. You make a couple of the missed threes you had. Like there was an avenue to win. The issue is Boston didn't make threes. And I think just generally speaking, I just don't think you're better than Boston.
Has Boston gone
But
crazy?
Dallas and 6 though.
Did they go? What was the game? 38% in game 1?
Yeah, but they were like
What?
the
But
first
50
half,
attempts?
They were good. Yeah, like 42, I think.
That's
I think they were
insane.
like 17
yeah,
or 42 or something.
35% on 47% or 47 attempts. Yeah, then you're.
Oh, the missed free throws. They need to make free throws.
Well,
Dallas
they're the worst
need
free
to
throw
make
shooting.
free
They're
throws.
the worst free throw shooting team in the playoffs.
Lucas shot 2 for 5 in game 1 and 4 for 8 last night. So that's what?
Yeah.
6 for what's that? 6 for 13?
That's
egregious.
I know Leaf Diggy. I know.
That's egregious. So.
Swiper, can a team have a true shooting? What's a
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, team
What's the team's true shooting like?
For who? Mavs?
Both Boston and Dallas.
All you got to do is go to playoff summary. You go to 2024 playoff summary on Basketball Reference. I'll teach everybody how to get there. Because when Mars pulls it up, he doesn't tell anybody anything. So the team that's leading the playoffs in true shooting, chill. You hear me talking?
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Boston has a 59.7% true shooting through the playoffs so far, and then the Mavericks are at 8th in the NBA playoff with a 57.1. And then this is how you know the Nuggets fell off the face of the earth. They were like, I think, 3rd in true shooting in the regular season. They were 11th in the playoff. They couldn't hit jack squat. 55 true shooting in the playoff.
And just so you know, Ox,
in the finals, Dallas are at 51%.
And just so you know, Ox, it would be much higher if they can make free throws.
League average is like 56, I think. Right?
They can make free throws.
League average in playoffs is 56.6.
I'm not
Dallas
a
at
fan of true
51.
shooting. I've never been.
And Dallas are turning the ball over like crazy. So turning the ball over, missing free throws, giving up offensive rebounds because they're switching a lot and their bigs are away from the rim. That's killing them. So the optimist, I'll play both sides, devil's advocate, an hour and a half in, Dallas fans. I'll leave a timestamp, 1 hour, 28, 30 seconds if you want to hear optimism. A big part of the reason why you guys are losing are within your control. Making free throws, not turning the ball over, defending without fouling, not giving up offensive rebounds. Those things are relatively within your control. So if you want to be optimistic, If you believe, hey, we'll be better from the free throw line, we'll be better on the glass, we'll look after the ball better, we can win. That's the optimistic viewpoint. So I will say there are things you guys can do better to give yourself a better chance of winning. And the most egregious one is the free throws. I don't know how you guys are this bad, and I don't know how Luka is this bad from the free throw line in this series.
Yeah, can we? And this just people are just trailing from Twitter to YouTube.
You tongue tied. So I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to address the basketball side. I brought up Luka getting walked by, and people brought up some stuff from last year, which I brought up nothing about, by the way. I'm sorry. Was Jokic bad defensively in the playoffs last year? Like, or what's
last year? No.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, that's 21. They ran the third best defense in the playoffs, like, for a reason. Like, and then he was also great in the finals. So I don't really know what to tell you.
Matchup dependent. They didn't.
Yeah, matchup dependent. That's cool. But the Suns,
really
he was good. Closest series out. Good versus the Lakers, and then he was really good versus Bam. Because Bam, just can't make jump shots.
I really want to see a Jokic versus OKC defensive series. I want to see how Shea.
I don't want to see Shea hitting no turnaround game winners anymore. I'm perfectly fine.
Well, you good, Swipe?
I don't want to see Shea doing one of these. Bink, bink, bink.
Goodbye.
I don't want to see none of that.
Fellas, we got 30 minutes left. I'm gonna dedicate this strictly to you guys in the chat, only because you guys are a special group of people in the chat. 30 minutes. Send through your super chats. We're gonna get through them all. Whatever you guys want to talk about or want to address, we're gonna definitely do that. Darren Foss said Mavs about to get swept, and we talking about Tatum shooting.
You can't talk about the whole game as a whole. But everything has to be. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do the perfect Boston Celtics segment for the super fans, not for the regular fans. Super fans, y'all. The Boston Celtics are the most dominant team in the last 25 years. If you look at their net rating from regular season to playoff, they're 14-2 through the playoff run. They're potentially going to be 16-2 to win the NBA Finals. That's going to be one of the most dominant NBA playoff runs we've ever seen in modern NBA history. Jason Tatum is about to accelerate. Think about this: 5 Eastern Conference Finals, 2 NBA Finals, a Finals MVP and a championship at 26 years old in its age 25 season. There are going to be a handful of players that have ever done that, including Magic Johnson. Michael Jordan never did that. LeBron James never did that. Nikola Jokic never did that. Steph Curry, he did do it in 2014-15 at 26 years old. But can we say that Steph Curry was a 3-time first-team All-NBA player before he went into that NBA Finals and did that? And Jason Tatum and JB, last 2 years ago versus the Golden State Warriors in 2022, they didn't get the job done. Tatum led the NBA playoffs in turnovers. JB failed to do what he needed to do as his number 2 option through the NBA Finals run. They were up 2-1 versus Golden State. They don't even leave the opportunity and the question to be answered this year. What would they do? They went down. They didn't go down. From wire to wire, they led every series from the moment the ball was tipped to the end of the series, and they absolutely got it done. So Jason Tatum is going to be a certified, by the end of the time he ends his career, at this pace, he's going to be a top 25 player that's ever played basketball. Top 25 ever. He might go a little bit higher than that. Jason Tatum is going to be probably one of the 3 favorites to win MVP next year if he wins the Finals MVP. And then on the other side of this, JB is guaranteed, as he should have been this year, he's going to be an All-NBA player next year. Coach Joe Mazzulla is rightfully going to be one of the top 3 Coach of the Year candidates to go into the next season. And then because they're going to shore up KP, they shored up Drew, they're going to shore up Derek White again. They got JB, they got JT. They are going to be back in the driver's seat in the Eastern Conference to repeat as NBA champions this next season. And they're going to do it on the back of ultimate team chemistry. And on top of that, there's not a superstar that is more unselfish in the Eastern Conference than Jason Tatum, to allow for his teammates to thrive, even though his shooting splits are trash. He's playing great defense. His playmaking has been good. He's been a good leader on and off the mic, and he's taking care of business. And Boston about to win his first title since 2008 and his second title since the Larry Bird era, maybe with 2 or 3 to go in the 2020s. That's where we're headed.
Fire.
I love how no one interrupted, so that was just a perfect clip all in one. Wonderful work, guys. Good work. That's how you make content.
Should have let me back up, Ron. I would have interrupted that shit.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
All right, so Christopher,
Even though he was spitting.
By the way,
that's how you spit, Swiper.
By the way, but keep going. I'm sorry, Ron.
Christopher D said, "Don't let Luka off the hook. Hold him accountable, shooting 46% from the free throw line and averaging 8 turnovers last night. It's not all on Kyrie."
Well, you don't average 8 turnovers in a game.
No, you don't. You get them. You get turnovers.
But I don't know how many he had in game 1. Maybe 4 or 5. So was he averaging like 6 turnovers, something like that? But we spoke about Luka. Luka's got to be better from the line. Defensively, we spoke about it. So I mean, 8 turnovers. I don't think all of them were his fault.
I've always had a problem with that. Y'all dudes can roast me for this, but I've always had a problem with your primary ball handler not being a great free throw shooter. You are the primary ball handler. We need you at the end of the game when the game is close to make free throws. Even throughout the game.
He's been better this year, though. I don't know what's just happened. And in the playoffs, he's been better. Like, this is just a 2-game skid where it's been really bad. Like, this is reminiscent of is it 2020 against the Clippers? He couldn't make a free throw. Or is it 2021? One of those series, he couldn't make a free throw. This is what it's reminding me. Now, maybe he won't miss one for the rest of the series, but first 2 games has been bad.
Riddell with the super chat. Y'all know him. Mr. Purple Political Breakdown himself. We all know he's probably not in too good of a state right now, but we'll pray for the brother. He said, let me bring some pros on the Mavs side. Like Mark said, Luka on offense was spectacular, and his playmaking / passes were ridiculous, and they were making it very difficult on Tatum on defense.
Is he the best isolation player, like non-best high usage isolation offensive player since Pete Harden?
Who doesn't play above the rim?
No, just that too, but like just period, like just because he's not an off-ball like threat.
Well, I mean, who else in that conversation?
I know this dude ain't bring no grapes in here, and I bring us none. I know for a fact this dude ain't bring no grapes in here, and I bring us none. I bet you this dude ain't bring no grapes in here, and I bring us none. I swear to God, it's bad enough. I was about to ask, but I'm kind of in the middle of something. I'll get to that in a minute. But the grapes, I got a problem with my man Damo. Damo, pass the skunk, please, before you even get to the grapes. Pass the skunk first. Thank you very much.
You know I will.
You
know I will, Chill. I just want to point out to the audience, as many times as Ox and Mars have ate on this stream while we've been doing work, and nobody even thought to ask them. As soon as I pop up and I pop one grape, I get called out. I see what's going on.
For what it's worth, that's because there's a lack of respect for British cuisine. So that's why no one asks.
British cuisine.
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. 1,000% rightfully so.
Did he just say British cuisine? Is that what I just heard?
Yeah.
There's no such thing as British cuisine.
Respect fish and chips.
Damo.
I will respect fish and chips.
Okay,
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
No
No
doubt.
doubt.
Respect fish and chips. That's
Damo,
a burger and fries.
It really don't smell like skunk. It got more of a citrusy, fruity type of smell.
Anyway.
What you got over there?
Yeah, whatever you need over here, man.
Okay. So Chill might be smelling a skunk. You got a buffet over there.
Why you think I tell us dude to pass that?
Shout out, Damo, man. All right, y'all. DSG Piccolo said, even though the Mavs lost, I kind of like the Gafford post-ups on Tatum. Also,
I love that yesterday.
Are like 6-0 when Tatum shoots under 40% this playoffs.
Yeah, keep posting up Gafford on I'm the Celtics. Do it, please. We would love that.
Where Luka doesn't dictate the offense. We chilling. We'll live.
I mean, look, Chill. He scored, but
that's what I'm talking about. Like on 3 straight possessions.
Great.
But how many? And this is the issue. Once again, you get with role players. How many possessions are they going to go to Daniel Gafford?
Right.
Probably not many. But
then we'll live with 3 possessions. We'll live with.
Okay, and I think that's the downside, Mars, because that is the downside. Because I mean, you can take advantage of that mismatch. No, you're not going to go to him like you would go to Shaq. No, you're not going to go to him like you would go to Joker on the box. I get that part, but if you can get buckets out of him more times than not, maybe even get Jason Tatum in foul trouble, why would you not utilize that more? Instead of taking a load off of Luka, I mean, I'm not taking a load off of Luka, giving the ball to Luka and letting Luka continuously go. This is another option that we can utilize.
We'll see. Remember the Clippers series against Dallas game 1? They went to Zubac 20 million straight times, and he had like a 50-point game in the first quarter. So maybe they do that with Gafford, but the likelihood is they're not going to.
J.A. said, I don't think it's crazy to say that Luka Doncic is LeBron James if he had to compensate for less athleticism.
I'm so sick of this new era not watching. And again, I get like the some of the TV is pixelated still from 2009. So I understand that people did not watch at that point in time. But I think sometimes this is where the numbers are killing you. Like, well, Swiper, you're a numbers guy. Well, again, I've also not said that there's a better apex than Michael Jordan, despite the fact that there are people in the league now that have comparable playoff numbers for a segment of games to Mike. LeBron James, during this stretch, in this 2000 early LeBron, 2007 to 2011, even when he lost to the Mavericks, was the super freaks of super freaks athletically. He was the most athletic player in the sport while being 6'8", 260 pounds, and had no weaknesses defensively except when he would lose, except when he would lose sight of the ball because he was doing too much. But that was him. That was a maturity thing as a player. When he was locked in mentally, there was nothing that he could not do. Now, he didn't have a jump shot at this point, which he did not get until 2012.
Consistent one.
But when that dude was like all the way around, when he was locked in at that point in time, there just wasn't a better player. Like, so that's why when you're bringing up Luka and LeBron, like even his ability to get to the rim at will offensively.
It was like seeing, like, you know, when you press fast forward, that's what it looked like. It looked like he was on fast forward and everybody else was just on regular speed.
Yeah. No, 07, I think Swipe is dragging it a little bit, especially defensively. But
no, I'm saying, but like when he locked in mentally, I'm not saying he was a perfect defender, but I'm saying when he was never he wasn't an all NBA defender at that point. But when LeBron locked in mentally, like when and especially in late games, like he wasn't
okay. But then also once again the counter, like Rodell said, the people saying it, like especially I've seen the 25-year-old Luke is better than 25-year-old LeBron. I think you're setting Luka up for slander, which is unnecessary, especially if you're a Luka fan. But that's besides the point. But the argument would be offensively, Luka's way more polished than LeBron was at that point. Now, if you want to say who's more impactful, fine. But Luka doesn't have noticeable flaws offensively like LeBron did, especially flaws that could be game plans against and were game plans against. So I guess that's
and it
like
worked.
Yeah, so I guess that's where like the Luka side of it would be the offense.
But forget the player comparisons in terms of on the court. Wouldn't it make sense to say Luka is, in terms of all-time greats, if we're going to compare type of paths, isn't he closer to a LeBron path than, say, a Kobe path or a Magic or a Bird? Because I think Tatum fits more on the path of a Bird or a Magic or a Kobe in terms of getting in the league on a team that's not essentially built around you, but your greatness kind of propels you faster down the path. Versus a Luka who, just like LeBron, got onto a team and since day one, all eyes on him. It's about him. It's the Luka show. It's LeBron show. It's about that team building around them to continue their greatness, and they're kind of exceeding things a little fast. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, players don't typically get to the finals as a number one option at this age. That's not normal.
Yeah. So shout out to Jason Tatum for doing it even younger. Yeah, shout out to Jason Tatum.
But again, that's what Tatum, and that's why I give Tatum his props. But again, that's why Tatum will be on the path of in my opinion, a Bird, a Magic, a Kobe. Those guys also did a lot of things quick and young, but their teams were way more built out for them and for their continued success.
I think on the career arc point, it would be more.
Kamlo, you just scared the life. We're going to be 15 years from now, and people are going to be looking at Tatum has three Finals MVPs, 3 finals. He's going to be top 10 in scoring, top 15 in scoring, and he's going to be top 30 in rebounds or whatever else. And people are going to be like, Jason Tatum's like, he was like the Kobe of his era type deal. I'm going to lose my mind.
How's he going to get 3 finals MVPs and Drew Holiday about to win this year?
Because they're gonna win 4 rings, and he gonna get the other 3 this year.
Well, Drew Holiday.
Go ahead, take.
Yeah. And if Drew Holiday ain't gonna be there, and he doesn't show
up,
next
year's Porzingis turn.
Okay.
They all gonna share.
Okay.
They all
gonna. Said 4.
They're gonna get a Finals MVP each. So Drew's this year, Porzingis next year. Then it's gonna be Jaylen Brown. Then Jason Tatum gonna rattle.
And then he go finally get it on the 4th.
Yeah. Then he gonna rattle off 3 straight.
Hey, man,
already got his first.
That's what happens when you're a team player. You let your teammates go first. Shout out to
Derek White gonna get the last one. Yeah, Derek White gonna get the last one.
I do want to say, since we're gonna be on playback, Swiper, I appreciate you for addressing that last super chat about LeBron in 07. Because you know what we're gonna do? I got some defense I want to watch from the finals. Because the Celtics have just been playing stellar defense. We're gonna break down Jason Tatum's assist and see if he was really playmaking or what that really was. We're gonna diagnose that.
You all have too much time on your hands. I'll tell you that.
And we're going to playback.
Also, LeBron James was in 2009 was a plus 11 and plus 15 while on the court.
We're gonna watch the last 5 minutes of the game, see the clutch of game 2. But we gotta go check out LeBron and see if it's really like that. I know Swiper said it was pixelated and whatnot. So we gonna go to 07 and watch just the first 2 games of LeBron and see who was actually better, Luka or LeBron. We gotta see it now. We gotta see.
Hey Mars, you're can you help me, because I think a lot of people are trying to answer this question, because when we're having talks about Luka's effectiveness as a player. In Luka's career, he's a +5, +3, +3, +2. He was a +5 this year while on the court, which is not great.
Yeah.
Relative to like Jokic, SGA, Giannis, and it doesn't matter the year. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter the year, right? Like, it doesn't matter if those guys have flawed rosters around them. LeBron, at the same age, was a +15, +11, +10.6, +10.4. What do you think there's anything to those numbers that just busy, or is that just because like this quantitatively like his impact is just not the same?
Yeah, I remember we was on Open Gym and I asked this question a couple months ago about like why, and it was about with Kyrie. It was like when Kyrie's off the floor, Dallas are better than when Luka's on the floor without Kyrie. Why is that? And like why is it that consistently Luka's net ratings and net differentials aren't as crazy as other people? Like this year, for example, Embiid was a +10, Shea was a +11, Brunson was a +9.5, Jokic was a +12. And like in terms of like net swings, he's in line with them relatively. Not Jokic, because whatever. But like generally speaking, like he's not matching up with them in terms of those like net ratings and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think some of it's just like noise with the data. Like some of it, I think some of it is lineups and what lineups Luke is playing against versus what bench units Kyrie or whoever or his team is playing against, all of those things. And some of it might just be like, A, defensively, there's problems. And B, the impact of heliocentrism. And if your entire offense is reliant on Luka's creation, if your offense isn't performing at all-time levels, how high can Luka really push his net ratings? Which I don't think is a knock on him as a player.
But to your point though, James Harden from 25 to 27, James Harden at 24 was a +7, a +5.7, a +1.6, a +7, and then 17-18 he was a +10.5. But that was the Chris Paul. So that's what I'm saying.
Well, outside of 2018, that's relatively in line with Luka. Like it's higher, like +5s to like +3s and stuff. But
I'm saying that to me, I think is that a connective thing between there's a style of basketball that is, while it's gaudy and you can be really efficient at it, it just doesn't contribute to winning to the same level.
Excuse me.
On a game by game basis as other styles of game, of play style.
Swipe
I
up,
think
Mars.
it's more susceptible.
I gotta step in because we gotta read these.
Go ahead.
No.
Christopher D said, "Don't want to heart about the Mavs complaining for calls when they missed 8 free throws and lost by 7. Make free throws so you don't look for bailouts."
Make free throws. Yep.
For sure. Make free throws. I mean, for sure.
It's really that simple. Make free throws.
G Stu G became a member. Shout out G Stu G. LaFlame said Ben Simmons with aura cooking on driving kicks.
I don't know.
Shout out to Jason Tatum.
Hemi said, if you ask some people, Giannis and Zion are worse offensively than Kyrie. Plus, Luka needs to give more resistance to allow Gafford and Lively to recover.
Cone.
Giannis is better offensively than Kyrie.
Kundrill said, can we finally admit scoring isn't as valuable as people think?
No.
It's what happens.
It's the way you score. It's the way you score. The way you score matters.
It's the pressure you put on defense. I keep saying it, like it's not a singular attribute. It's not scoring or shooting or finishing or playmaking. However you put pressure on defense, whichever way you do it. Some people put pressure on defenses by rebounding. Just because they're a threat to get an offensive rebound every play. It's about how you put pressure on defense and how you leverage it.
Really quickly, Swipe it. Do you think that Giannis getting paint touches, Giannis in transition, not just Giannis getting paint touches, but in transition, but also being around the rim, does that put more pressure on the defense than Kyrie Irving one-on-one?
1,000%. It's not even a conversation. Not even a relative conversation for me.
Yeah, Giannis requires the attention of the whole team. Not just because of the rule, but everybody. But that's why I say it's the pressure you put on defenses. Like Steve Nash put pressure on defenses as a playmaker. Giannis puts pressure on defenses as a downhill driver. Steph puts pressure on defenses as a shooter from a million feet away. Shaq put pressure on defenses because of his low post dominance. So like and then Kobe put pressure on defenses because of shot making. Like everyone puts pressure on defenses in different ways. I'm not saying that's the only ways these guys put pressure on defenses.
Right.
But generally speaking, that's how they put pressure on defense. And then it's about how you leverage that, how you use that to create for other people, how you use that to create for yourself, how you use that to get your teammates good looks. Like there's no one singular way that's more valuable than the other. It's about value
and I think too, some of this is like I think on the opposing, because I feel like players talk about this, but I'm not gonna lie to you, I just don't even like the way some players talk about this stuff. When there are players like, for me, the archetypes are LeBron, Jokic, Magic being the worst of it. But there are players you prefer that they dominate you as scorers, because that for you, it's like a win on that possession. Because if they are impacting the game so much to where they're passing and their playmaking and their creation, because of the way they play, they're literally like they're forcing everything inward on your defense, which completely exposes you on the outside or even at the rim. Oftentimes, I think like your Kobe's, your Lukas, your Harden, that are like their shot making is incredulous. But obviously, Kobe this, but Harden and Luka have that passing and that on-ball stuff, and then Harden with the step back and Luka with the step back. I think all that stuff, it just plays into, okay, well, we know this is coming, but we're kind of okay with settling with this to a degree. I just think that when you have players that are just like Giannis, we're putting so much pressure towards the interior of your defense that if we allow for him to do this more often than not, then he's going to get us in foul trouble. Number one, he's going to get 10 free throws, but he's also he's shooting 80% on 20 attempts at the rim. Chill.
Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what? There's no winning there. There's no winning there. Like, that's a loss. But I think the thing with Giannis is so flawed outside of the restricted area that's what allows teams to breathe. But there are certain players though that you don't breathe with, and I think that like. I think LeBron, that's why when we have conversations, we actually got older. Like, it's just, I can't breathe. Like, he has a jump shot, he has a 3-point shot, and he gets to the rim at will.
J.A. said, do y'all think the Wolves could have possibly put up a better fight in these first two games?
No.
You don't think so?
And their offense isn't good enough either.
You see what they're doing to Luka?
Yeah.
Anthony Towns.
Yes.
Anthony Towns.
Yes.
You see what they're doing to Kyrie? Mike Conley.
Go after him.
They have the same flaws.
Go after him.
Also, they have the same
particularly flaws. Cat, Ron. Particularly Cat, Mars. Particularly Cat.
Cat would have just been shooting threes. Well, Tatum would have been guarding him. I mean, he could have got Tatum in the post a little bit.
Maybe.
He couldn't get Pete. I don't care about the offense. Defensively,
that's right, Ox. You was about to say it, Ox. I know what you was about to say.
What were you about
Ox
to say?
is right.
It don't matter, Ron. Let's keep it moving.
All right. Ayo Podcast said cook Ron for the fake shooter argument and how Tatum will be the poster child of why winning a ring isn't the end all be all on ranking players.
Well, he's not moving up my boards, Chill. I can tell you that much. But I don't. That's cool with me though. I accept who he is.
Jason Tatum is still playing decent basketball. He's playing good basketball.
Playing really
sometimes there's a lid on the rim.
Right.
Like sometimes there's a lid on it. I don't think obviously if some of those shots go in, it's going to be like, oh well, he's doing better because stat wise. But they're winning basketball games. He is much more
aggressive in this series. He is.
And that's another thing. See, like what Mars was saying earlier, we had that conversation when y'all was saying that Klay Thompson was washed, and I'm like, well, he's still out there, and defense has to respect him. So as long as he's shifting the defense, and other guys are still playing decent basketball, he's not yet. Well, yeah, I guess he's washed still, but he still can make an impact on the game. Yeah. Like Jason Tatum is still making an impact. Like you still have to respect Jason Tatum. They're still sending doubles to him. He's still being aggressive. He's shooting a lot, which I mean. If you're shooting a lot and making a little, then it looks bad. But it's just a lid on the rim. So if he makes,
but it's a catch-22 though.
Shots,
it's a catch-22.
Different.
It's a catch-22. What you talking about? All right, he went 6 for 22 yesterday. What if he went 6 for like 14? Like he ain't shooting enough. But if somebody else is a scorer and they go 7 for 29, at least he emptying the tank. So
six for 4. If he would have went 6 for 14, I don't think anybody could say anything about him last night. If he went 6 for 14 last night, that was in today's basketball. That's great. 6 for 14 and still with the stat wise what he had. You can't say nothing about way Jason Tatum played yesterday. You know what though? Let me stop because I'm box score watching mostly. Like I was tapped in and out, but still like from what I've seen from JT, I'm like that's how he plays. You know what I'm saying? That's how he plays ball. Sometimes he makes it, sometimes he doesn't. That's just how it works.
Playing good ball. He was playing good ball. He's still playing winning basketball, and that's what matters when you're trying to win a championship. He's playing winning ball. Other guys, the shots is going in. I mean, I'm seeing people in the chat talking about, oh my God, we're giving these passes. No, what passes are we giving them? We're acknowledging He's not scoring well. He's not shooting the ball well. That's fine.
Right.
He's still playing defense. You can't say nothing about his defense. He's still making passes and setting up others. You can't say nothing about his playmaking. He is actually rebounding. You cannot sit there and say,
yeah, Mars. You seen him in trap?
No, I said it. Once again, I said
Go ahead, boy. Get on that glass, boy.
I said it today. I said if
JT.
JT getting boards, I'm gonna give him the credit. JT getting boards right now.
He's doing other things, and no one is trying to sit here. No one is trying to sit here and cape for him. Oh my God, he's still playing, man. No, we're talking about other people being Finals MVP. That's the conversation. Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP. Porzingis has an argument. Drew Holiday has an argument. Derek White has an argument. No one is arguing for JT to be Finals MVP. So I don't know what passes we're giving him. I don't know what. Oh man, y'all holding the top 5 standards. Nigga, winning is
Damo. That's not a knock. That's not a knock, Damo. I mean, what's his name? Steph had to win 4 rings before he finally got the Finals MVP. So if not being the Finals MVP is the knock, then let's have that Steph Curry conversation. You know what I'm saying? Before we do get off of YouTube, though, Ron, real quick, I just want to shout out Kayla McBride. She was balling yesterday.
Kayla McBride
was balling yesterday.
I ain't never seen Kayla McBride play weak. Ever.
Yeah, facts. But yesterday she was balling. I just wanted to say that because that's the main reason I was box score watching, because I was in and out. Mostly was doing WNBA yesterday. In the Rooks yesterday, Kate Martin, Cameron Brink, Rakita. Miss Jackson was balling yesterday.
She balled down the clutch.
That was some good. It was. Hey, I know y'all was watching the finals yesterday, but there was actually some good basketball on yesterday. Y'all should have watched it.
This is what I expect from you on that right there. That's what I expect. Random.
It's a shame it took
random rants
of the show, but you know.
Yeah, random rants of WNBA putting us on. That's what I expect from you two.
Yo, Damo, back to JT right quick, dog. The reason I'm not overreacting is because I told y'all this shit 3 months ago. Told y'all he's not top 15, so I'm not expecting him to play like he's top 15.
Here we go with this.
Hey, shoot, you can get mad if you want. I told y'all this 3 months ago.
I told y'all this 3 months.
That's no indictment to JT. That's no indictment. I'm just saying, I know 15 other players that would be playing better than him right now. Anthony wants to be playing better than him right now.
Who?
Devin Booker would be playing better than that boy right now. And I'll keep going down the line. They'll be playing better than him right now.
Are you crazy, Ron? Ron, read the super chat.
I don't know.
I ain't getting into this with you because that's why I'm
It's 15. You don't know what Jimmy Butler will be playing better than Jason Tatum right now.
I just don't know about naming people we watch shit to bed this playoff season, like this postseason. I don't. That's kind of a stretch. To say Devin Booker would have been playing like this right now,
swept.
And
he got shut down. He got shut down.
You can say other names.
He averaged 27, man. He averaged 27.
Ron, other names are fine. Devin Booker is crazy.
Give me a break, Ron.
After this playoffs, man, leave that nigga name alone, man.
Please.
So Devin Booker be shooting 27% right now.
Maybe Donovan Mitchell. Let's go with Donovan Mitchell.
The only reason he averaged 20, the only reason why he averaged 27, as Mars said, because he had a 50-point game. They got swept out of the playoffs. Up until that point, he was averaging 14 a game, Ron.
So it's ridiculous to say that Devin Booker will be playing better.
Me like Devin Booker had 50 and 25% of his playoff games.
So it's ridiculous to say that Devin Booker will be playing better right now. It's ridiculous to say. For you guys, Winston and Anthony Edwards, where he's clearly had a much better playoffs than JT. Clearly, no debating. For y'all to halt on that,
I think you're saying playing better in terms of they'd score more efficiently.
That's all Devin Booker's about.
Devin Booker's not bringing the value as a driver that Jason Tatum is. He's not playing defense to the level Jason Tatum is. He's not able to guard bigs to the level of Jason Tatum is. They'd have to change their defensive scheme for Devin Booker. He's not rebounding like Jason Tatum. So he's not doing what Jason Tatum does, but he would score more efficiently.
Ron, you at the
if you want to
replace,
if you want to replace everything Jason Tatum does in replacement of more efficient scoring, sure, Devin Booker would play.
That's all he's talking
about. That doesn't change everything else that Jason Tatum does.
Let's talk on Devin Booker. Jimmy Butler. I'm telling you, I can go down the line, and it's guys that we would say would definitively be playing better than Jason Tatum right now.
Only name I'll give you is Jalen Green. Only name I'll give you is Jalen Green. That's it.
Jimmy Butler.
I might give you Keegan Murray. That's it.
I'm not going to argue.
Jalen Green. Sengun did give Wemby 45.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, it's time to troll. Clearly, I'm just ready to go to playback.
Give me some more names.
It's not time to troll. So what? Anthony Davis.
We're just trolling at this point. It's cool.
Anthony Davis is a troll.
You
No,
right.
you can have AD. I'm ready to go to playback. It's time for playback, man. We know
guts, bro.
Yeah, we
For
know
real,
AD.
because
I said it's players that will be
It's
playing
your
better
man.
than Jason Tatum. Hey,
hate
chat, you're right. These niggas cape for Jason Tatum. He can do no wrong.
You
You
talking
guys
about
are
a dude?
absolutely right.
When have you seen them? So I
You
want to
named
make sure
3
that
people, bro. You said 15.
Do you want me to
I ain't
keep
gonna lie,
going?
we got-
Do you want me to keep going?
No, I
No,
want
more
you
than
to get to the super chat. That's what I
No,
want.
you want
So
me
we
to keep
can
going?
get
You
the
don't name
playback.
players. I'm saying
Name them quick.
he's getting
You name on
outplayed by
playback, you name on
players
playback?
on his team.
Yes,
We're talking about players on his
exactly
team.
what
We're
we're
not
doing.
even talking about
Nobody
other
to
number
name
one
down.
options.
Ron,
We're not even talking about other number one
He's
options.
gonna do that.
Damn playback. We staying right here. Y'all
There's
want to hear the names?
175
Y'all wanna hear
people
the
on
names?
playback right now watching nothing.
Do y'all want to hear the names?
On
I
playback.
wanna hear more.
Hurry
Yeah,
up.
we going there. Ron, hey, Ron, once again, hold them names. We going next door.
Look at us trying to tell.
All right,
Ron
hold
to
on.
do
We
his
got
job.
We got to get to these
He
super
a
chats,
halfway
though.
crook. He a halfway crook.
Super
He
chat,
just
so-
bullshit.
SMN R&DM said Luka's defense was atrocious, but that's far from the reason the Mavs lost last night. Outside Luka, worst shot-making performance since tanking on purpose.
Yeah, that was the offense is a bigger issue than that defense, in my opinion.
SMN also said, Ox, they do have to play like that. When they moved the ball and got open shots, no one made a shot. Only minutes Mavs won was when Luka went off.
Oh, that's what's up. I didn't see it. You know what I'm saying? I was watching real basketball yesterday. Hopefully Ron can hurry up and we can get the playback so I can see finally.
DSG Piccolo said, I honestly don't know what is a foul and what isn't a foul. Ref's been all over the place.
Yeah, I ain't think you could push somebody in the back when they're going up for a dunk, but that's just me.
You can't do that. Dom,
I didn't think you could, but
No, you can't. You cannot.
Yeah, I don't know the rules of basketball, so I'm just
One of the rules of basketball is you cannot push somebody down, and it's not a foul. That's a foul. You got to call that. Beep. Blow the whistle.
I'm not sure, Dama, but I don't think that's allowed. Yeah.
No, it's not.
I was sure it wasn't, but
ZK said, swipe a Luka agenda is nasty. Those defense tweets was shameless. You employ a 7-foot cone and played an 8 seed in the finals. We played 450-plus win teams. Shaking my head.
The playoffs is all about matchups, man. The
Talk
playoffs is all
that
about matchups. I don't like. There's
They-
bad
these
matchups for
plus
Luka.
win
There's bad
teams.
matchups for
Yeah,
you.
they-
It is what it is. I don't really care. Both aren't the greatest defenders.
Official Teak said, already seeing Kyrie get called overrated. Oh, man.
Boy,
as he should after these first 2 games, I don't
Crazy
want to
how people
slander
switch
that
up.
man.
it's crazy how people
Slander
switch
him.
up, dog.
What?
Brax said, keep going, Mars.
He was talking about when
Facts. OKC should have been in the conference finals, man. I'm standing on that.
LaFlame said, we are seeing the 2014 Spurs with a 5 years window.
I'm not gonna lie. That's not a bad comparison. That's not a bad comparison.
Lego Rover said, Kai is way better than Jalen.
Don't look like it.
DSG Piccolo said, Bucks bringing back Darvin Ham.
Good. Do that.
They won a chip with him. So
yes, they did.
Leaf Dig said, Denver effed up the whole playoffs. Thanks for nothing, Swiper.
Nah, PJ Washington messed it up. It should have been OKC versus Minnesota.
Kobe Ashe or Ashy said, if Luka could shoot leaning free throws, he'd be 90.
I mean, considering the only rule for a free throw is you can't pass the free throw line until the ball touches the rim. Hey, Luka, start shooting step backs from the free throw line. Something. I don't know. You don't miss a free throw line step back. Start shooting step backs.
Cultured Saunders said, L beans on toast.
For sure.
Fact.
But beans on
And
toast.
J.A., last but not least, said,
Yo, beans and toast not
to
that
be-
bad. I ain't gonna lie.
to be fair, I was just talking about play style.
They was bad.
All right, y'all. Click this link at the top of the chat. We're going over to Playback TV right now. See y'all over there in a second. We out.
Mhm.
And shout out Fish and Chips.